days when the Georgia Southern football team arrives here at Paulson Stadium. But they do play some good football. Quarterback Chaz Williams and the Georgia Southern Eagles are ready for the 1AA playoffs. Coach Mike Seawalk has his Eagles fired up to play the University of New Hampshire. The Georgia Southern Eagles know all about championship football. They've won 6 national titles, the most by any 1AA school. Today they take their first steps towards another title in front of the friendly faces here at Paulson Stadium. But the Eagles will be severely tested. The New Hampshire Wildcats don't think much of Georgia Southern's great history. The 9-2 Cats are trying to make history of their own. And hello everyone, and welcome to Division 1AA playoff football. Alongside my partner Andre Ware, I'm Eric Collins. And well, here in the Big Dance 1AA style, we have 16 teams invited to a championship. Already, 7 teams have been eliminated so far today, and after tonight's game, we'll be down to the Elite 8 moving on to the quarterfinals. And Andre, I know for a fact that you love offensive football, and we're going to get that in spades today. 2 teams that can score a lot of points in totally different ways.
Well, this is the way it should be decided, in a playoff format on the field. Both teams 2 contrasting styles. For Georgia Southern, it's a grinded out ground attack, #1 ranked rushing team in the entire 1AA, nationally in 1AA. For New Hampshire, they'll flick it all over the field. Number 10 passing offense in the country. They both have a lot of success. They do it differently, but nonetheless a lot of success.
Besides a lot of points, another thing these teams have in common is great quarterback play. Both teams with good quarterbacks who are not only steady, but they're also very spectacular.
Yeah, in New Hampshire, it's Ricky Santos. He'll flick it all over the field. His reads will take him to the secondary, to the corners, free safeties, strong safeties. He'll read it that way. For Chaz Williams and Georgia Southern, it's between the tackles. He'll read the tackles, then work his way out to the edges of the defense and the defensive end and the option attack. They do it differently, but both teams have a lot of success moving the football and putting points on the board.
We are all kinds of excited down here in Statesboro, Georgia. We're ready for football playoff style. 2 schools who have never met playing for their playoff lives. Playoff game here in the first round of the 1AA playoffs in 2004. 2 teams that have never met meeting here on the field. The winner continues on to the quarterfinals. The loser, well, they'll dream about what might have been. For the New Hampshire Wildcats, they have that great offense, and well, that great offense has put a smile on the face of Sean McDonald. He was close to getting his walking papers quite possibly earlier this year, but a wonderful season has led to the Atlantic 10 Coach of the Year award and a playoff berth for the first time in 10 years.
Yeah, he had basically 1 foot out the door, and then all of a sudden they turned it around. He lost his starting quarterback at the beginning of the season. You know, that worried him a lot, and then all of a sudden he had a redshirt freshman, Ricky Santos, really step up and play well for this football team.
For Georgia Southern, those 49 points that they average, that's the best in both 1A and 1AA. Mike Seawalk, he knows what he's doing in terms of offense. He was the Coach of the Year in his conference, the Southern Conference.
Well, they came alive and after a loss, and then all of a sudden went on a run. They've had a lot of success on offense, and defensively, people don't understand about Georgia Southern. They're 3rd nationally in total defense, so they can stop people defensively as well. They get a lot of attention on the offensive side of the ball. Defense is just as good.
That picture doesn't lie. It is nasty out here. Temperatures in the 40s, rain coming down. Andre, who's got the advantage?
I would say the advantage goes to the team that can run the football more effectively, and that's Georgia Southern, because they don't have to handle it a whole lot. It's a different type of handling of the football for a running team and an option team. Inside, they like to pound the fullback anyway, so it's just from the quarterback to the fullback. The only thing that they do in terms of putting it in the air, maybe is a little bit the pitch part of it, but boy, I got to believe in a weather condition game like this, it's going to favor Georgia Southern.
And we're off. Georgia Southern with the football and a good return to begin the game. Out across the 35-yard line. Tim Gersich, backup fullback, picked up the loose football And carried it out to the 35-yard line. We have a man down. That's a difficult way to start a game here in Statesboro, Georgia, but that is a good sign. Thumbs up from Wes Turner, the sophomore wide receiver from Sewanee, Georgia. He was hit hard on the opening kickoff, but he has been taken off the field, and everything was moving in terms of limbs. So hopefully that is a very good sign. Well, taking a look at Georgia Southern's offense, Jermaine Austin, he'll get the bulk of the carry. He's the fullback. The main receiver is Teddy Kraft. He has just 19 receptions on the year, but 7 of those receptions went for touchdowns. On the offensive line, 2 all-conference players, Albert Turner at left tackle, and at right guard, Chad Moat. Very interesting offense for Georgia Southern. With the football, T.J. Anderson rips off some good yardage, gets close to midfield before he's knocked out of bounds. Defensively, New Hampshire is going to be up against it. Taking a look at their front four, George Peterson, an All-Atlantic 10 first-teamer. He's a former walk-on who's turned into a wonderful player. At the linebacker spots, they're missing one of their better linebackers, Alan Talman, so Amir Sadah will have to step up in the middle. And in the backfield, their playmaker is Corey Graham. He leads the team in both interceptions and passes broken up. Chaz Williams looks like he wants to throw. His first pass is deep and incomplete, looking for the playmaker, Teddy Kraft, but he couldn't find him.
Yeah, you talk about Teddy Kraft and catching 7 touchdown passes on only 19 receptions. Well, he averages 24 yards a catch, and it's because Georgia Southern, they like to soften you up inside with a fullback. Then they'll work the perimeter and work outside with T.J. Anderson in this series. They ran him outside, and then all of a sudden, when they lull you to sleep, it's Teddy Kraft over the top.
Andre, we need to talk about this unique offense. Yeah. They call it the spread, but their coaching staff says it's a combination of both the veer and the run and shoot. Second down and 10. Man in motion. They fake the inside pitch. They're running option. Chaz Williams keeps it himself, and Williams gets down to the 43-yard line.
Well, I tell you what, it's an offense that's like the run and shoot only in terms that you're reading on offense. For Georgia Southern and Chaz Williams, it's reads right here, the fullback, the delayed option there, and coming back, the counter option out here. Then it's the read on the defensive end. If he takes the pitch man, I'm going to run it if I'm Chaz Williams. If he takes me, I'm going to kick it out to the option to the pitch man on the outside.
Straight up the gut, Chaz Williams takes it himself and gets the first down on 3rd and short to move the chains.
Well, it's almost like a broken bone kind of when the slots are on the outside and the fullback is right behind the quarterback. The key to stopping them is you got to stop Jermaine Austin, the fullback, and shut that down first. Then you get a handle on that, you go to Chaz Williams, and you got to get a handle on him defensively. Then you can have your way with Georgia Southern.
Handoff goes to the fullback, and Austin goes nowhere. That's really the first positive play for the New Hampshire defense. On the stop, Amir Sadah.
You know, talking to Mitch Ware, their offensive coordinator for Georgia Southern, he said he wanted to establish the triple option. That's what they like to do. They ran it 44 times out of almost 80 snaps in a ball game a couple of weeks ago. Then they got to handle the line of scrimmage with those big offensive linemen. They look like get off and get in your face.
Slot man in motion. They fake to the fullback, and they try and toss it to Kevin Davis. Loose ball. Who wants it? New Hampshire with the football. Mistake made by the Eagles, and Jared Perkowski jumps on the loose ball.
And you know what Mitch Ware's last comment was, or key to the victory?
Protect the football.
And there in that series, they didn't do it. They don't turn the football over. They only had 11 turnovers in 11 games, and there they handle it a lot. The ball's in a lot of people's hands, but there it finds its way on the ground. And all of a sudden, big number 43, Jared Perkowski, comes up with the fumble recovery for New Hampshire.
Just what the doctor ordered for the New Hampshire Wildcats. And offensively, another very unique offense. Folks, you're in for a treat today. Barking out the signals, Ricky Santos. He has 4 receivers available. Wants to throw on first down, and he throws to the wrong man. Ball picked off, coming the other way. It's Jason Earwood. Back-to-back turnovers.
Boy, you don't think this football game or football in general is a game of emotion? All of a sudden, you get a big turnover, and it's like, oh, here we go. Freshman mistake by the quarterback, Ricky Santos. He stares this thing completely down and trying to get to the curl route run by David Bailey, his speedster on the outside. Number 52, Jason Earwood, steps in front of it, but he stares it down the way you should not do as a quarterback.
We've got good numbers if you're working on the assembly line at the Sarah Lee factory. 2 turnovers made in 9 seconds. Chaz Williams with the carry, the safe call, picks up a couple on first down.
You know, if you're New Hampshire offensively, you got to make the most of opportunities because Georgia Southern, they're going to eat a lot of clock. They run the option, they're going to keep the ball on the ground, and the clock is going to run. Before you know it, you're going to be halfway through the first quarter. When you get a turnover from a football team like that, you have to make the most of it, especially in plus yardage territory.
Didn't get a chance to talk about Ricky Santos, but he is just a freshman, quite possibly a freshman mistake for New Hampshire. He gives to the fullback, Austin. Big gain for him. He gets out across the 40-yard line.
Yeah,
gain of 11.
The scouting report on him is he's a good inside runner, powerful lower body. He squats about 600 pounds. He's a good fullback in there at about 5'8", 205. So he's built kind of compact, keeps himself low to the ground. You see there, Chaz Williams just reading it out. His read tells him to take it inside. When the tackle's head on defense is outside, he's going to give to that fullback up the middle.
Williams rolls left, has room, picks up good yards out to the 26-yard line. Back to the studio we go for the first time. Matt Winder standing by.
Eric, James Madison and Lehigh added earlier today. This is Raymond Hines, 1-yard touchdown run, 14-7 Dukes at the half. Last chance for Lehigh. Mark Borda's pass knotted down. Dukes will get Furman in round 2 next.
Furman, the number 2 seed, so James Madison will have to have it going on next week when they take on the Paladins. Back here in Statesboro, Chaz Williams has the Eagles on their second possession. Georgia Southern, number 4 seed this year. New Hampshire, the number 5 seed, in case you were wondering. Give to the fullback, this time Brandon Andrews, his first carry. And the junior from Swainsboro picks up good first down yard.
Yeah, when you talk to Mitch Ware about his 2 fullbacks, Jermaine Austin and Brandon Andrews, he says they're kind of one and the same. One maybe weighs a little bit more than the other one. One's a little bit taller than the other one, but they're both physical football players that are built low to the ground, and they are straight ahead runners, north-south runners. What you got to have in this type of offense from that position.
Mike Seawalk, 27-9 in his 3 seasons on the sidelines as the head man for the Eagles. Looking on in the rain. They fake to the fullback, and Chaz Williams keeps the football. Touchdown! With the rain coming down, a 15-yard score for the senior from Apopka, Florida.
Boy, what a fantastic football play. And great execution on the part of Chaz Williams. He's got everybody thinking fullback, and all of a sudden he pulls it. He's north and south with the football, a big gaping hole in the formation of the defense of New Hampshire.
This is what they do. Georgia Southern, 5 plays, 50 yards, all on the ground. Extra point up and good, no problem. Jonathan Dudley with the extra point. And Georgia Southern jumps out to an early 7-0 lead. This year, he was the runner-up for Conference Player of the Year.
You know, I asked him, Mitch Ware, yesterday, I said, you know, how many times does he misread the option? He says, well, he's so good that when you misread it, you don't know when Chaz Williams misreads it, because he can cover things up so well with his running ability, turns negative plays into positive plays, and that's what you got to have at quarterback in an offense like this.
Jonathan Dudley kicks this one off. Ball fielded at the 1-yard line. Corey Graham, normally a very good returner, this time doesn't get very far. Can't get to the 20-yard line. He gets 15 yards, and then he's hammered down. Well, we saw Ricky Santos for all of 1 play on their first drive. He threw the ball to Jason Earwood. But for the most part, he has been a true sensation for New Hampshire. A redshirt freshman came out of nowhere, was 4th on the depth chart coming into the season, and he had just maybe the best season ever for a quarterback in New Hampshire.
Really just came out of nowhere in terms of that, and runs the ball effectively well as well as reading defense.
Santos with the pocket collapsing, avoids a bad play and just jumps forward for a couple of yards.
You know, if you're Ricky Santos, you want to get a dry football, and hopefully you'll have dry footballs throughout this game.
Taking a look at the backs and receivers, R.J. Harvey, he's the main runner. He led the team with 529 yards. David Ball, he's an absolute treat to watch athletically. He's a 7-foot high jumper, and he's put up wonderful numbers as one of the wide receivers. Their best lineman is the left tackle, Christian Label-Cote. On second down, they set up a screen, and not much is doing. There's a lot of speed on that Georgia Southern defense. Let's take a look at their names. Up front, Eric Hadley. He's their senior stalwart. Matter of fact, all 4 of the starters up front are seniors. A lot of experience. They can do a lot of stunts in games. Linebacking spot, John Morin. He's the best athlete defensively. He is also the biggest playmaker, leads the team in tackles and sacks. And in the backfield, James Young, he will hit you. Santos on third down, complete but short of the first down. He hits David Bailey, but he's going to be a couple of yards shy of moving the change, and Santos will have to head to the sideline.
Yeah, and the coaching staff will talk to David Bailey a little bit, Chip Kelly, their offensive coordinator, because you're taught as a receiver, run your route, especially on third down. You got to get to the depth of the first down. David Bailey runs his route, hooks up over the middle, but he's short. So when he catches the football, they're going to rally up and tackle him. Now New Hampshire is in a punting situation.
Matt Henry, the sophomore from Cresskill, New Jersey, fields a high snap and can't go anywhere. A whole host of Eagles bring him down. Tariq Muhammad, the first to wrap him up, and Chris McDonald is incensed.
Well, you heard me talk about having a dry football if you're Ricky Santos and the passing offense of New Hampshire. Well, it affects everybody on the field, especially the long snappers, the punters, everybody. When there's weather conditions like this, you'll see the football there. It's high. That throws the timing off for the punter, Matt Henry, and now he can't do anything with it other than secure it and get himself on the ground. Georgia Southern right here staring down the teeth of this end zone once again.
A very difficult way to start a game for New Hampshire. Chaz Williams, not much doing.
Boy, they like to option so many different ways. They'll run the option, show the fullback up the middle, and then T.J. Anderson on the outside. They'll run it where it's just the quarterback, maybe on a bootleg, and then they will send people in motion and go Chaz Williams and Jermaine Austin like that last play. Just quarterback and fullback. You think it's hard tackling him inside. Try getting Jermaine Austin out on the edge.
Second down and 10, New Hampshire. Dreaming of a stop. They give to the fullback, and no! Chaz Williams with the football. He gets inside the 10, and then he's brought back rudely. Gain of 6 for Chaz Williams.
I'll tell you, you have to keep your, just imagine being a defense or a defender down there trying to figure out who's got the football, and a magician like Chaz Williams running the option. He shows it inside to Jermaine Austin, and everybody collapses down on the inside, and all of a sudden, he doesn't have the football. Chaz Williams still has it.
I asked Mike Seawalk if he had all the best athletes in the world, what offense would he run? He kind of grinned and said the exact same thing we're running. This is the best offense in the world, he thinks. And it looks like it just might be. Jermaine Austin, touchdown.
Now, you're talking about a football team that played Georgia in the opening game of their season this year and rushed for more yards than any team against Georgia all season long was Georgia Southern. Though they lost that football game, it built a lot of confidence because they were in the football game for an awfully long time. They carried over and they went on an 8-game winning streak after losing to Georgia.
2 big mistakes by the Wildcats of New Hampshire have led directly to 14 points being put on the board by the Eagles. 2 touchdowns in a span of 3 minutes and 5 seconds. Mike Seawalk loving every minute of it. Back deep again for New Hampshire. David Bailey, senior from the Bronx. Standing in the cold rain here in Statesboro, Georgia. We're about 40 miles west of Savannah and the Atlantic coast. High kick once again. Fielded close to the goal line. Corey Graham has the football this time, and Corey Graham has an alley down the right side, cuts middle, little bit of a juke. It's a race to the end zone. Cut down at the 1. What a return by Corey Graham, unofficially 99 yards on the return.
How about the effort on the part of Lewis Barr on the outside just to run him down? I mean, he could have given up on this a long time ago, and he's one of the fastest players on this Georgia Southern football team. But here, you see the return by Corey Graham outside there. Now, Lewis Barr is going to show up in your screen right here. And then he just tracks Corey Graham down, never gives up on the play. He could have just given up and allowed for the touchdown, but look at the effort on the part of Lewis Barr right there, and then to get him on the ground at the 1-yard line.
You can't get better field position than this, folks. Handoff goes to John McCoy, and McCoy, the real deal. That's how you answer a score.
I'll tell you what, and they did it in a different way. That's why special teams, in my opinion, it ranks right up there with offense and defense, because it is the fastest way to turn a football game around. It's one play, and it can go the distance, almost like what just happened with Corey Graham in New Hampshire.
John McCoy, touchdown, number 6 on the year, and another bad snap. Connor McCormick just has to fall on, Ricky Santos just has to fall on the football, and the extra point attempt goes by the wayside. But New Hampshire has to be pleased. They've at least got 6 points on the board. It is cold, it is wet, it is dreary. You think that the folks in New Hampshire, they've seen this type of weather. This is what they practice in on a day-to-day basis. You come down to South Georgia and you think that it's going to be sunshine. Not today. Kickoff is a short one. Teddy Kraft fields at a 15-yard line. Cuts left side. Oh, my, not again. Kraft out the 40. Close to the 50-yard line before he's pushed out of bounds. Good return for the sophomore. 32 yards on the carry.
Yeah, they always start with good field position. Georgia Southern, they rank 2nd nationally in kickoff in yards per return. And here Teddy Kraft just going to get outside, bad angles on the part of New Hampshire. Number 4, Jason Foster, number 4, Sean Diner, the receiver on the kickoff team, takes a bad angle, and it allows for Teddy Kraft to get outside. Look at that average field position.
For New Hampshire, it was greatly helped when they had a 99-yard kickoff return. Jermaine Austin jumps over a man and picks up a gain of 5 on first down.
Or here, just the ball handling in terms of not having to put it in the air a lot, and you're still having some success. Georgia Southern, they do it as well as anybody. And then we talked about it at the top. In conditions like this, the rain, you can run the football and do it effectively. It's certainly to your advantage.
2nd down at 5, and Austin, another huge hole to run through, and he crosses the 40-yard line. It crosses the 30. Gain of 18. Well, tonight, Jared Zabransky and the 10th-ranked Boise State Broncos try and remain undefeated and then stay in the hunt for one of the top 6 spots in the BCS standings. They travel to Nevada to take on the Wolfpack. College Football Saturday presented by Crestor tonight at 7:45 Eastern on ESPN. In case you're wondering, Boise State currently ranks 7th in the BCS standings. Utah and Texas both standing in front of them. Brandon Andrews, not much doing in the middle of the line. It'll bring up a 2nd down and long.
And now you see New Hampshire trying to get a handle on the fullback for Georgia Southern. That's where it's going to start. Jermaine Austin just wearing them out up the middle, and then they're pulling it and having some success. But you got to stop the fullback on the option attack, because that's what opens everything up. You sink everybody inside, then you'll see Georgia Southern go to the edges.
Pitch out. With the carry, Lenon Jefferson pushed out of bounds, but there is a flag on the field. Lenon Jefferson on carry for the goal. Taken out of bounds. We'll have to sort this out. It is going to be against New Hampshire. Now, Georgia Southern, over the last couple of seasons, they have been dominant on the ground. Take a look at those numbers. And this year, folks, they not only lead 1AA, that leads all of Division I football. That would be tops in 1A football as well.
Yeah, they actually lead Rice, who runs the football effectively in terms of their option attack in 1A. And Georgia Southern out rushing everybody.
In case you're wondering, folks, 1AA football, they have wonderful athletes here. They just don't have as many as 1A football. 1A football, you have 85 scholarships on your team. 1AA football, there's not as much money invested in the scholarships. You have just 63 scholarship players. That's the main difference between 1A and 1AA football. Movement in the backfield. Looked like Jermaine Austin fell forward out of his stance. Yeah, they got 5 free yards on an offside penalty against New Hampshire. They're going to get it right back. It's New Hampshire with a little false start by Jermaine Austin, the fullback. And they're saying the officials are talking about New Hampshire jumping again. Of course, you would say that if you're Georgia Southern. No one points to themselves like they do in basketball and say, it was me.
That's right. We'll get the official word. It's the false start.
Yeah, Georgia Southern tried to convince everyone else, but they weren't biting. Let's take a look at some of these players that have graduated from these schools and gone on to the NFL. Adrian Peterson, he was everything here at Georgia Southern, considered to be the greatest runner ever here at this program. Other NFL players, Kawaki Thomas, longtime Jacksonville Jaguar, played here for the Eagles a couple of years back. And Tracy Ham, Andre, he's
north of the border in Canada, was as good as it got. Tracy Ham, they actually named the offense the Ham Bone when he was here.
Jazz Williams throws high and outside. Trying to hit Lennon Jefferson down the right sideline, and nobody was home.
You know, actually had an opportunity on a couple of different occasions to meet Tracy Ham and talk to him, and I was as impressed with him as anybody I've ever run into in terms of just the individual himself. And boy, you talk about an outstanding football player here at Georgia Southern, and then for the Montreal Alouettes of the CFL, won Grey Cups, and boy, he did it and did it well.
Jazz Williams spins and tosses it out to Austin. Austin spins and goes backwards. Amir Sadah on the stop. Loss of 5. Let's go back to the studio. Matt, what's going on? UTEP's had a wonderful season.
Yeah, they have. Mike Price has as well. And they accepted a bowl bid to the Houston Bowl earlier in the week and maybe dropped their guard a little bit against Tulsa.
Andre, what's going on? 4th and 15, and Georgia Southern's going to go for it instead of a 51-yard field goal. Chaz Williams wants to throw. He's got a good arm, but someone zigged when they should have zagged. Possibly intended for P.J. Cantrell.
Well, I thought it was the slot back Kevin Davis up the sideline. They try to run a switch route, and they talked about that with Mitch Ware a little bit yesterday in our meeting, but a little long for a field goal, you know, a little short for a punt. Don't feel good about the punt in terms of handling the football in conditions like this. We've already seen 2 bad snaps on the part of Dave Wyman, the snapper for New Hampshire. So playing it safe is the head coach Mike Seawalk for Georgia Southern.
So the Wildcats in New Hampshire, good field position again. R.J. Harvey with the carry, gets out to the 41-yard line, gain of 7.
Now they can run the football when need be. You got 2 runners in John McCoy as well as R.J. Harvey, who are over 500 yards, just under 600 yards for both those guys. Combine them, you know, you got yourself 1,200 yard rusher.
Sure.
But they like to throw the football. They enjoy throwing it. I was in a meeting with Ricky Santos yesterday, and he started talking about the choice route and brought back memories for me.
Your eyes got as big as silver dollars. Santos flushed out of the pocket, lives to fight another day. Simply throws it out of bounds. It'll bring up a 3rd down.
You know, whenever you have 2nd down and short, you know, 2nd down and 3 to 4 yards, it's almost like a gimme down. You don't want to make a mistake there. It's a free down and distance, because 3rd down you can come back and always pick it up on 3rd down. I think from a young quarterback standpoint, he has grown through the season. A lot of times earlier in the year, he'd have thrown that football into coverage trying to make a play. There, come back on 3rd down.
New Hampshire looking to convert their first 3rd down, and they do. Pass is caught by their star, David Ball. Good gain on third down. Call it 14 yards, but Ball holding his right ankle.
And he is such a big part of this New Hampshire football team. We're talking about 84 receptions for over 1,400 yards.
And that man right there has accounted for over half of the receptions, over half of the yards gained, and over half of the touchdowns caught on the year. They desperately need David Ball to play. But for the time being, Sean Diner is the first man to step up and make a play. Gain of 4 on first down.
Yeah, and now a lot of the responsibility falls on the shoulders of Ricky Santos. Sean Diner will have to step up. David Bailey will have to step up as well. But that young man right there, he's going to be asked to work within the system. Ricky Santos, that is, in terms of having success in their system.
Second down at 6. Santos trying to get away, throws high. Excellent reception made by David Bailey. Not only stepping up, but leaping up is Mr. Bailey.
Boy, fantastic athletic play on both the part of Ricky Santos and David Bailey. Just talked about the two of them taking responsibility in this offense and making plays until they see if their playmaker, David Ball, can get back in this football game. But somebody, in terms of receiver, that guy, David Bailey, will have to step up.
Fresh set of downs. Ball at the 34-yard line. Santos on the run, has a man. Diner again. Gain of 7 on first down.
You know, this is the old go route where you bring a guy across in motion. He starts straight up the field and softens up the defense. They go with him. Then you just leak a guy like Sean Diner out in the flat as a quarterback. 1, 2, 3. It's there. You give it to him. And now New Hampshire trying to find their rhythm. They have found it here in this first quarter.
Santos from the shotgun. Sneaks away. Gets Diner his 3rd reception on this drive, but basically just back to the line of scrimmage.
Georgia Southern kind of rolling the dice defensively. John Moore blitzing, and they're trying to bring pressure to get to Ricky Santos. Young quarterback. They want to disrupt him, frustrate him a little bit, but he's doing a fine job in terms of stepping up. When he gets pressure from the outside, he steps up, and he's still looking down the field, scanning the field with the football.
So the Wildcats with a 3rd down and 1 with David Ball being worked on the sideline. The shoes already off, and they're taking off the tape and getting a closer look. Flag flies before this play gets underway. There's Chip Kelly, the offensive coordinator for New Hampshire. He's the architect behind this offensive system.
Another false start on New Hampshire. They had several penalties in this ball game. Now it's going to be about 3rd down and 7. Got a guy jump right there, the end man, and then you get R.J. Harvey slipping down. They want to check his footwear.
3rd down and 6. Need to get to the 23-yard line. Little bubble screen. Not much doing. Aaron Brown quickly wrapped up. Picks up 1 yard, but that's it. It'll bring up a 4th down.
And you know, they may start thinking about going for it themselves here. The 2 long snaps, or bad snaps they've had on the punt, as well as the extra point. They're going to give it a field goal try here. They're going to need to go for 2 without that. If they make this, they won't have to at some point in this ball game.
Connor McCormick will attempt a field goal, but remember, that's Ricky Santos, the quarterback, who's the holder. Little pooch punt. A little bit of trickery, and it's going to pay off. Pooch punt is going to be down inside the 10-yard line.
That's a good call. Good call and a good snap. Finally got that part of it handled, and they have Georgia Southern pinned down inside their 10-yard line.
It's not going to do much for the punting average, just a punt of 21 yards, but it's exactly what McDonald wanted.
Yeah, direct snap to the kicker, Connor McCormick. He's just trying to down it inside the 10. Does a fabulous job, and now Georgia Southern back on the attack.
Georgia Southern was stopped on downs their last time with the football. The give is to the fullback, and Austin picks up a good chunky yards. 7 yards are gained on first down. Georgia Southern, just a wonderful tradition of excellence here in 1AA. They won back-to-back titles. back in the 80s, 85 and 86 when Tracy Ham was at the helm. Then back-to-back titles at the end of the 80s, 89 and 90. They won championships. They won 2 more a couple of years ago in 99 and 2000 when Adrian Peterson was their bell cow in the backfield.
Well, they rode his back, and they seem to have jumped on the back of Jermaine Austin, another fullback tonight. And he is having his way right now in terms of gashing this New Hampshire defense. They are going to have to make some type of adjustment to account for Jermaine Austin.
Austin already with 59 yards. Rain continues to fall here in Statesboro, Georgia. Chaz Williams keeps it himself, puts the head down, and crosses the 30-yard line. Well, Tuesday night, ESPN's coverage of the ACC Big Ten Challenge continues on ESPN. At 7 Eastern, the Michigan Wolverines meet B.J. Elder and the 3rd-ranked Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Then at 9 Eastern, Paul Davis and the 9th-ranked Michigan State Spartans. They will contend with J.J. Redick and the 10th-ranked Duke Blue Devils and the Cameron Crazies. The ACC Big Ten Challenge presented by 989 Sports, Monday through Wednesday on ESPN and ESPN2. 2nd down and 4. Pitch out to the slot back. Marquise Maynard. Good gain. No, went on John Jefferson. Gain of 18.
You know, talking to Mitch Ware, their offensive coordinator, I asked, what do you look for in terms of slots? He says the first thing, speed. And you saw it there out of Lenon Jefferson. The second thing, hands, because they handle the football on the pitch so much and then receive as receivers. And then blockers. And he got a fantastic block on the edge by number 26, Marquise Maynard, on the edge to allow for Lenon Jefferson to get outside and up the field.
This will be the last play of the first quarter, if they get it off. Chaz Williams runs out of time. The whistle blows, and the first quarter is in the books here in Statesboro, Georgia. Georgia Southern, Mike Seawalk's club on top, 14-6. Welcome back to rainy Statesboro, Georgia, and this has been the big story so far. David Ball, the star receiver for New Hampshire, he is down with an ankle injury, and Andre, it doesn't look good.
No, it really doesn't. You talk about accounting for a lot of offense, but they are going to miss him if he cannot get back in this football game.
Jermaine Austin just lowers the head and picks up a good chunky yards out across the 35. Another gain in excess of 15 yards, call it 17.
Boy, he is really, really having his way in terms of running the football, and he's just gashing them in the middle. Dan Wagner, as well as Derek Stank, the 2 defensive tackles for New Hampshire, really going to have to step up and start taking on those linemen and collapsing everything inside.
New fullback in, and this time coming along, it's Brandon Andrews. Andrews does his best Jermaine Austin impersonation. He gets first down yards, gain of 20.
Yeah, he's carrying Byron Flannery. The strong safety gets to the secondary in a hurry, but busting through that first wave, the defensive line, and gets past the linebackers. All of a sudden, you're into the 3rd level of the defense. Look at that yards per carry average, 10 yards a carry for Brandon Andrews right now.
Don't lose too many games when you average 10 yards a carry. Whistle blows before this play gets underway. Really, the only thing slowing down Georgia Southern is the penalties every once in a while. We apologize. The microphone down on the field is not working. We're working on that. Well, this is the story of the game on our game track. New Hampshire, 2 miscues, 1 interception, 1 bad snap on a punt. Both of those errors immediately translated into points for Georgia Southern. Rushing touchdown by Chaz Williams and 1 by Jermaine Austin.
2 miscues, 2 touchdowns, and that's tough to come by. And all of a sudden, Georgia Southern started this drive inside their 10-yard line. And now all of a sudden they find themselves just inside of the New Hampshire 15. So they've gone a long, long way in a short period of time.
Second quarter action. Chaz Williams and Georgia Southern, the 4 seed. They received an at-large berth to the 1AA playoffs. They were in a first-place tie co-championship Here in the Southern Conference, they tied with Furman. Furman beat them head-to-head, so technically Furman is this year's champion of the Southern Conference. They got the automatic bid, but because Georgia Southern, a 9-2 record, they did get an at-large bid. And now they're going after their 7th national championship. We are here in Statesboro, Georgia. Field of 16 teams has been whittled down to 9. After today's game, it'll be down to 8. Alongside Andre Ware, I am Eric Collins. Georgia Southern has never lost a first-round game in the 1AA playoffs, trying to make it 15-0. Third down and 7. They need to get to the 4-yard line. Williams, little option action, keeps it himself, and Chaz Williams, his 2nd touchdown of the evening.
You know, talking to Chaz Williams yesterday, I asked him, I said, you know, being a quarterback, which would you rather do? You run the option, but which way would you rather score? Would you rather run it in, or would you rather throw the touchdown pass? He said, I don't care. Whichever way we get in the end zone and the team can be successful. And boy, running for now 25 touchdowns on the season. Amazing.
Andre, 11-yard touchdown run, caps a 92-yard drive, all 92 yards on the ground.
But you know what? It's a frustrating thing if you can't get a handle on it.
Chaz Williams, he's a wondrous player. People are starting to figure that out. He's got 2 touchdowns, and Georgia Southern's now up 21-6. Welcome back. Paulson Stadium is our venue. New Hampshire trails by 15. Jonathan Dudley will put toe to leather one more time. 3 touchdowns already by Georgia Southern. 2 coming by the quick feet of that man, Chaz Williams. He's now accounted for 38 touchdowns on the year, 25 of them rushing. Shorter kickoff this time. Corey Graham, who returned the last one, he touched 99 yards, has a chance this go around. Corey Graham out to the 50-yard line. 44-yard return for Graham. Well, Chaz Williams, on Thursday, he enjoyed it eating turkey with his teammates.
They say it's always a great sign when you eat Thanksgiving with your football team, and you know that means you're in the playoffs. So it's been great up to this point. We take every game serious, like it's a championship game, and we understand the playoffs. If you don't win, you go home, man. It's something that, you know, we already did Thanksgiving, so we just going to fight it out.
Chaz Williams enjoyed his turkey, and so far he has enjoyed his evening against New Hampshire. 2 touchdowns. John McCoy on that carry. Good first down yards, picks up a good gain right up the middle. It's a 9-yard scamper through the middle of the line. John McCoy, a junior from Groton, Connecticut.
Well, they need to get themselves back in this football game. They go no huddle, so they're always trying to find a rhythm offensively.
McCoy, back-to-back carries, picks up a first down. Andre, we were talking about the contrast in styles for these 2 quarterbacks, and the numbers, they bear it out.
Well, one likes to run the football, and you see that with Chaz Williams here, and then all of a sudden you'd look on the other sideline, one likes to throw it, and that's Ricky Santos with 44 yards, both pitching shutouts in terms of one running and one throwing.
Chaz Williams has yet to complete a pass, believe it or not. Santos, big gain to his tight end. Jonathan Williams, the kid from Rochester, New York, with the big gainer inside the 10-yard line.
Yeah, when you talk about him, he can really stretch the middle of the field from the tight end position. He's a Shannon Sharp type receiver, gets behind the linebacker, and look at that throw. Accurate throw from a freshman, dropping it right over the middle of the defense, and Jared Perkowski, the linebacker there, and just cannot make a play. All of a sudden, New Hampshire on the move and trying to get on the scoreboard here.
Man in motion. Santos hands it off. And not much doing. Just a couple of yards. It was John McCoy on the carry.
Excuse me, that was Derek Butler that was beaten by Jonathan Williams on that pass in the middle. Could not get himself back there, and all of a sudden, New Hampshire, you got to be impressed with this drive they put together.
They're resilient. Santos, hand off again, and McCoy finds tough sledding. The big fella inside, Sherrod Taylor jumps on it.
You know, don't be surprised Ricky Santos is a good runner. They like him running the football. They can show the ball inside to number 34, John McCoy, and then have him bootleg out on the edge. So keep in mind, he is a good runner of the football, Ricky Santos.
New Hampshire averages close to 38 points. And they get 6 here. John McCoy with the touchdown.
McCoy on the carry for a touchdown, New Hampshire.
Folks, hope your calculators have enough batteries in them because we're getting some scoring.
Yeah, some points are being put on the scoreboard, but boy, when you have to have a touchdown and you have to answer points, you get a big kickoff return out of David Bailey, and then all of a sudden you got good field position and you're able to punch one in. You're on the road. You have to answer points. In New Hampshire, they come up big.
Extra point, no problem. This time, they're now 1 for 2 on extra points. John McCoy, 22 rushing yards on that drive. He's accounted for both the Wildcat touchdown.
Yeah, they're only a score and a 2-point conversion from being tied up in this football game. So it is nip and tuck for New Hampshire. Touchdown, so basically spotted New Hampshire after getting a turnover themselves, 14-point.
Short kickoff just to the 20-yard line. Jason Foster, very quick freshman with the football, gets out to the 35-yard line. Well, the Division I Women's Soccer Championship begins Friday at 2 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2. For a preview of both College Cup semifinal games, visit NCAAsports.com, the official home for all 88 NCAA championships. And Chaz Williams comes out for another series of offensive football for the Eagles of Georgia Southern. 9 players on Georgia Southern's team were named first team All-Southern Conference this year. Chaz Williams on the carry. Gain of 7 on first down.
Well, then they have you thinking that they're going to go to the fullback, Jermaine Austin, up the middle, and all of a sudden he pulls it out and he runs it himself. And you know, they just keep you off balance. It's a couple of different ways to do it when you're New Hampshire as well as Georgia Southern. They do it on the ground, but they fool you inside and then back outside. They just try to keep you on your toes.
Option. Chaz Williams keeps it himself, puts the head down, and gets to midfield.
You know, it's frustrating when you're a defensive lineman or playing on that defense and you just can't get a handle on things. You don't know who has the football. Sometimes you're just tackling air. And you look in there and then all of a sudden I'm tackling Jermaine Austin and here comes Chaz Williams again. Then all of a sudden you start playing for the quarterback and Jermaine Austin's running down the field on you.
First down, fresh set of downs. Austin with the carry, he's knocked down. Andre, you ran the veer when you were in high school. As a quarterback, physically, what do they need to do? What are the attributes that a good veer quarterback has?
Well, I'd like to think I was tough.
Well, I know better.
First and foremost, you know, it was a version of the veer, the wing tee, and you spread people out and you run, you know, certain parts of the option. But you have to be a tough runner. You really have to be, and you got to be a good play faker. And also, the main thing is reading in the defensive lineman.
Second down. Give again. Right up the gut. Just a couple of yards gained. It'll bring up a third down. Looks like right now, looks like New Hampshire at least has a chance here. It's third down and fairly long, which is something that Georgia Southern hasn't been faced with very often. They've just been getting huge chunks of yards.
Well, they finally seem to have gotten a handle on the fullback or Chaz Williams in this drive, and that's the first two things you have to start to think about in terms of stopping Georgia Southern. They read defenses, and from the quarterback position, you hear read defenses so much. For Chaz Williams, it's in between the tackles where he's reading defenses.
Chaz Williams dives close to first down yards, but I think he's going to be just a little bit short. All depends on the spot, but it looked like Chaz Williams didn't quite get to the marker.
I can guarantee you they're not going to punt it. They're in a plus yardage situation and just gashing them for big yards. They came into this game averaging 5.9 yards a carry. I don't think half a yard is going to be a problem for Georgia Southern.
Georgia Southern, they've converted a whopping 76% of their fourth downs on the year. Tops in the Southern Conference. But, folks, that percentage is going to go down.
Boy, where the line judge is spotting this football, maybe second effort, but where he's got his foot, it's going to be short, and it's a fumble. Looks like they're going to call this a fumble, and New Hampshire has the football.
Well, a big break for New Hampshire. They get the football back and finally stop that train.
Well, so many times as a quarterback, you just take that exchange for granted. In a wet football, you see it there dropped on the ground. And Chaz Williams not able to come up with it, and he was going to be short because he's trying to recover that fumble. And there, big number 44, trying to come up with it. T.J. Watkins, unable to do so.
So the momentum stays on the side of the Wildcats of New Hampshire. They try to run it on first down, gain of 3.
Well, they've had some success. We talked a lot about New Hampshire and their passing attack and spreading people out, throwing the football. Where their success has come is that big guy right there has run the football well. John McCoy between the tackles, and they have kind of answered Georgia Southern's running attack.
Santos decides to tuck it under the arm. Big gain for him, but a flag flies. A flag in the backfield for New Hampshire may negate this run, and it will.
Yep.
Early call is holding against the Wildcats. That nullifies an 11-yard scamper.
Tim McCarrigan was going to be the guy that was caught holding, and it was after Santos had already taken off with the football. McCarrigan, he's a transfer from Syracuse, started a few and played in a few games at Syracuse as a freshman against Rhode Island, Pitt, and Rutgers.
Tonight, Jared Zabransky and the 10th-ranked Boise State Broncos try to remain undefeated and stay in the hunt for one of the top spots in the BCS standings as they travel to Nevada to take on the Wolfpack. College Football Saturday, presented by Crestor, tonight at 7:45 Eastern on ESPN. Second down and long yardage. Little Statue of Liberty play. No, they fake the Statue of Liberty, and Santos keeps the football. What an interesting situation back there. Santos faked the handoff behind his back and took it himself.
Yeah, just showed it and it disappeared, kind of folded the ball up along his forearm and showed the fake on the end around, and it just kind of disappeared. Right here, you're going to see it right there behind his back, and then getting big number 68 out in front, Tucker Peterson, and he follows him into the hole, brings up third down and medium for New Hampshire.
Over the middle. Looks like they just got enough. The pass complete to David Bailey. The senior that time took the proper depth.
And you don't think David Bailey takes coaching well. Remember early in the first quarter when he, on a third down possession, he ran a route and came up short on the first down. There, he just barely got, or he got to first down depth across the yardage marker. So when he makes the catch, he's going to have the first down.
Andre,
let's go back. Yeah, this play is beautiful. Right here, you're going to see him hide the football. Right there, you see the flow of the offense. It kind of occupies the defense, and you're able to get Tucker Peterson up on the linebackers and allow for a big, big run on the part of Ricky Santos.
That usually doesn't even work in your backyard.
It looked good, though.
Pass complete. Keith Levan with the catch, and Santos is now 9 for his last 9.
Well, they used John McCoy well so that when they fake inside or give any look that they can go inside with the football, Georgia Southern's collapsing down. Now they're able to find big passing lanes for Ricky Santos and this receiving group.
Personal foul on New Hampshire will send them backwards. And there's David Ball. Can't mention enough about how he turned it on this year. He came out of nowhere to just be everything offensively for New Hampshire, and he hurt that ankle, and it doesn't look like he's coming back.
Yeah, and he's not going anywhere. You can't talk him off that sideline. You can't get that helmet off of him and that uniform. He's going to be right there with his football team, whether they get back in this game and end up winning it or not. You just hope that it's not, if they can win the football game, he can get himself back and ready for next week.
David Ball.
And you see just the look there. It's in a lot of pain. They're trying to put some tape on him and see if maybe he can put some pressure on that around the ankle area. Boy, he's grimacing as the trainer there is just putting tape on it.
He needs those ankles for his other sport. He is one of the best track athletes in all of New England. He high jumps 7 feet, folks.
Well, that's how he got to New Hampshire. Is when he came on a track scholarship. But the minute he played football, they kind of converted it over to a football scholarship. Now he's a football player who runs track.
He said he was slam dunking a basketball in 7th grade when he was 5'10". That's some hops. First down, and they try it again. The old fake Statue of Liberty. This time, that's not going to work. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
The linebacker, linebacker Victor Cabral for Georgia Southern. He wasn't fooled that time. He saw it once and maybe went to it a little bit too early. The fake was maybe a little bit too early. All of a sudden, they were able to rally up on it.
Second down. Santos busts out of the pocket, breaks the tackle. He's stunned and goes down at the 49-yard line. He's a tough kid.
Yeah, we talked about his ability to run the football, and he runs it well. Shows it inside and can take some tough licks. You know, he reminds me when I was a freshman going into the opening game of the season, or at some point in camp in two-a-days, I was down the 4th team as a true freshman, and then ended up starting the 2nd week and playing in the 4th quarter of the 1st game. But he reminds me of a lot of myself in terms of how he just worked his way up the depth chart.
3rd down and 8. Santos has time. Throws over the middle, high, almost intercepted. Tariq Muhammad had his hands on the football. That was almost his 2nd interception of the year. 4th down and 8, and New Hampshire's going to have to punt it away.
Yeah, Aaron Brown almost came up with his football. Here's the reason why you never quit on a play. Right here, you see Ricky Santos fighting in the pocket, trying to go across the middle, let it go on a wet football, but there, an opportunity to catch a ball that had been tipped. Aaron Brown just got to stay in the game right there, follow the football. You see it come out, he's right there about a yard away. All you had to do is lunge, and maybe you come up with a catch.
Matt Henry just gets it off. That actually was partially blocked. Ball is rolling end over end, and it'll be down at the 20-yard line. Punt of 31 yards. New Hampshire will take it. That was almost another disaster in the special teams game.
Well, you always got to have your head in the game. If you're a quarterback, and know the down and distance at all times in the game. Otherwise, you don't have any more downs. You got to try to get it to somebody.
Chaz Williams has yet to complete a pass on the day, yet he's led his team to 21 points.
And he's had his head in the game all since the start of the kickoff here. He has been on. I mean, he hadn't completed a pass, but that's not his specialty. It's running the football and working the option and getting those guys involved. His big fullback, Jermaine Austin. The guys on the edges, they run so many of them in at that slot position.
Again, gives to the fullback, and Jermaine Austin lugs it a couple of yards.
You know, we talk so much about stopping the fullback, and that's where it all starts. It's true. And he has had a great deal of success. And I think if you're New Hampshire, you go all out and sell out in terms of stopping him first. Then you get a handle on that. You got to work your way to the quarterback to stop him from getting on the edges, because they're showing it actually inside, and then Chaz Williams is coming in right behind him and having some success in the middle of the formation.
Chaz Williams stopped inside.
Yeah, it's just so much success going on between the guard and the tackle in this option attack for Georgia Southern that they can show the fullback, and then there's still a hole in time left for the quarterback to get there, and his read, the defensive end crashing down, may not have an opportunity or time to get to the edge, so he turns right in behind the fullback.
Already 229 rushing yards for Georgia Southern. Remember, they averaged 373, tops in all of Division I football. Williams, a little bit of a wobbler, complete. Lenon Jefferson with the catch. That's the first pass completion for Georgia Southern.
Well, that's why they lull you to sleep, running that option and running the fullback and the quarterback. Then all of a sudden you get play action. You see him reverse out here and show the fullback and then drop back. It's just enough time for the linebackers to get themselves out of position And all of a sudden, Chaz Williams has his first completion for a big, big first down in this drive.
Fresh set of downs. They run it on first down. Chaz Williams picks up a couple. Well, we have some injury updates for you. Remember, beginning of the game, opening kickoff. Man was down for Georgia Southern. Wes Turner, the sophomore from Sewanee, Georgia. He has a concussion. He was taken to the hospital, and he is obviously out of the game. He will not return. Chaz Williams again on the rush, picks up first down yardage. On the other side for New Hampshire, their star receiver, David Ball. He has a sprained ankle. His return is questionable. They do not say he's out. They just say that his return is questionable. So there is a chance that he still may be able to give it a go in the second half.
An outside chance, because he is grimacing with a lot of pain when we got a chance to see him just getting his ankle taped.
Jermaine Austin with that carry. Let's go back to the studio in Matt Wine.
All right, Eric, working on halftime for you. Coming up at the half, Syracuse removes the BC from the BCS equation. We'll run down the Big East mess. The Virginia Tech Hokies can win the ACC in their first try. We'll tell you what that conference race comes down to, plus 7 already down in the 1AA playoffs first round. We'll tell you who's already advanced at the half.
Thank you, Matt. A ball, loose ball, recovered by New Hampshire. Jermaine Austin coughed it up. And the Wildcats have the football. That's their second fumble recovery.
Well, and you know what? They've got to start doing something with these turnovers. They had one turnover early in the football game when they got a fumble. Then they come right back and throw an interception, give it right back to Georgia Southern. It resulted in a touchdown. Now you got another gift. You can get yourself back in this football game. Got to have points from New Hampshire.
E.J. DeWitt is the man who fell on the football, the senior from Massachusetts. Nothing doing that time. For the third time in 2 possessions, Santos did the old fake behind the back, and this time Brian Krantz sacks him for a loss of 6.
Okay, I'm calling plays for New Hampshire. And I run it once and it works. Okay, I go back to it, but I go back to something like this later in the game. The second time they ran it, it went for nothing. Now all of a sudden you're going to come right back the opening play of the drive and try it again, and it's not going to work. Brian Krantz there to make a stop.
Cute doesn't work very often against Georgia Southern. John McCoy, short gain. We're under a minute to play first half.
You know, I put that baby on the back burner for the second half somewhere after they stop it the second time.
Sean McDonald. Doesn't like the way things have started on this drive. There's Chip Kelly, the offensive coordinator. Timeout is called. 53 seconds remaining. Georgia Southern stops the clock. Ricky Santos in New Hampshire have the football. 53 seconds remaining, but they're faced with a third down and 12. They play conservatively and hand it off to John McCoy, who's wrapped up and brought down at the 30-yard line. Brian Krantz, his second big play of this drive. Rico Zachary also in the mix on that stop. And quickly, Georgia Southern calls timeout.
Yeah, you have a turnover, and you get a turnover if you're New Hampshire. You don't want to make a mistake on this end of the field and try something to where it gets you in trouble. Try a fat pass or force something over the middle. And all of a sudden, Georgia Southern's able to come up with a football, and they got a short field in which to work with. Play safe, punt the football, and play defense.
And so Georgia Southern's going to force a punt. They burn 2 timeouts. Do they have the type of offense that can get down and score some points in 47 seconds?
Well, they can. I mean, you know, they're known as a running football team, but we saw Chaz Williams complete his first pass, but they get it on the ground just as fast as most teams get it through the air. Keep in mind, if you move the chains, the clock's going to stop in college football anyway, so it doesn't matter how you move them as long as you're moving them.
Good snap there, and a good punt from Henry. Teddy Kraft brought down by a host of Wildcats.
Well, here's the 3 Statue of Liberty plays for New Hampshire, the good, the bad, and the worst. Here's the good right here. Ricky Santos shows it. They fool everybody on the Georgia Southern football team, results in a first down. Here, all of a sudden, Georgia Southern makes an adjustment. They've seen it one time. You're not going to fool me again, and this is the worst because you get a turnover the first play of the drive, and boy, big, big yards in resulting in a loss, and you're starting behind the down and distance markers. Go away from that play, put it on the back burner for later on in the second half somewhere.
So Ricky Santos And New Hampshire just has to look on the sidelines. 37 seconds remain. They hope they go to the locker room just trailing by 8. Handoff goes up the gut. Jermaine Austin, the junior from Darien, Georgia, with the carry.
Now, this is their version of the 2-minute offense. They get up to the football. They're moving it, ripping you for about 8 yards or 7, 8 yards a carry. Actually, 9 yards on that carry.
They do have a timeout remaining, and they're not using it. Chaz Williams wants to throw. Flag flies, and the pass is incomplete, intended for Kraft.
That's going to be in that area of holding. It's going to be holding against Georgia Southern. So this one, clock's going to stop. They're going to bring it back. They're going to be right around second down and about 11 or so.
Well, what we're finding out is maybe 2-minute offense isn't the strength of this Georgia Southern offense. That'll probably do it for the first half. You'd imagine they'll probably just take a knee, or at least not going to do anything too drastic here.
Here they try to drop back, and they got a switch going on the backside right there. Jermaine Austin just gets enough of the jersey. Number 27, Keith Sawyer, the defensive end for New Hampshire. And they're going to line up to where they're going to try to throw one deep here on New Hampshire. Always trying to score. 9
seconds remaining. And they don't throw it up. Instead, they keep it on the ground, and Jermaine Austin picks up a couple. And that'll do it for the first half here of our game in Statesboro, Georgia. It's halftime. Now let's go to the studio. Welcome back to Paulson Stadium here in Statesboro, Georgia. This is the 8th and final first-round game of the Division I AA playoffs. 16 teams will be whittled down to the best team all season long in 1AA. Alongside Andre Ware, I'm Eric Collins. And Andre, it's safe to say that New Hampshire was outplayed in the first half by Georgia Southern, yet they're only down by 8.
Yeah, and some of it has been self-inflicted. Turnovers and things, inopportune times. But they've gotten themselves back in this football game and done a pretty good job, even though they've turned the football over.
For Georgia Southern, really their only problem was the turnovers. Take a look at the bottom right of your screen. They turned the ball over 3 times. All of them were fumbles. Besides that, they looked pretty much dominant offensively.
Well, they really did. And the thing I think for New Hampshire here in the second half is they're going to have to find a way to stop the inside running attack. The inside running attack of Georgia Southern. So once they can get a handle on that, they can get themselves back in this football game. Offensively, when they've had it and they've taken care of the football, they've been able to move it against a good Georgia Southern defense.
Now, the best offense for New Hampshire has been that man. Corey Graham has been a special player on special teams, and they kick away from him. Instead, the up back running it back, that's David Bailey. And he gets out to about the 36, maybe 37-yard line. Let's take a look at the game track. First half action, Georgia Southern just gashing the defense of New Hampshire. 270 rushing yards.
Yeah, they've done it on the inside with Austin, the fullback, as well as Chaz Williams on the outside. Graham has been the guy that's provided the field position for New Hampshire.
Corey Graham, a $158 return yards, including this mesmerizing 99-yard return all the way to the 1-yard line. And because of Corey Graham, pretty good field position for the Wildcats here. They kicked away from him, did Georgia Southern. And the Wildcats have the ball on the 36-yard line. R.J. Harvey picks up 2 on first down.
Well, you see right away the adjustment. They knew going into halftime they'd had some success running the football against Georgia Southern. So they come back with their top rusher, R.J. Harvey, and try to just pound it out, try to get some yards up the middle and maybe mix things up a little bit in this second half.
Again, Harvey with the carry, and Harvey rips off a good gain close to the first down marker before Derek Butler tripped him up.
You know, and you look at the offensive line for New Hampshire. They've got 2 guards, 310 in Carrigan, and Peterson goes about 300 pounds. Only 260 and 265 are the defensive linemen for Georgia Southern. So you got to feel like you can move some people on the offensive line, make some adjustments, and maybe run the football a little bit in this half.
3rd and short. Movement on the line of scrimmage. And it's going to go against New Hampshire.
Boy, that's been a problem. That was the problem for New Hampshire in the first half of this ball game.
On the offense, number 86, 5-yard penalty, Still third down.
If it wasn't turning the football over, it was certainly penalties, and when they had a chance to pick up first downs, they're starting drives behind the down and distance marker and things of that sort. Boy, that has really been a thorn in their side. 5 penalties for 41 yards, and they've just come at a bad time for New Hampshire.
For UNH, that's their second false start. They fake the handoff. Little screen set up. Sean Diner trying to weave his way, has a first down and more.
What a good job. They bring him across in motion and then show like they're going to run the football. Then they set the screen, allowing some defensive linemen to get out in front. Right there, the play action pass coming right back to Sean Diner, and he's north and south with the football. Make sure you pick up the first down. Look at the second effort on the part of Sean Diner, just fighting and scratching for extra yards.
Diner 4 catches now. That leads the way for New Hampshire. Caught in the backfield, R.J. Harvey. Derek Butler for a tackle for a loss. Bring up a 2nd and long. The NCAA playoffs, first round action. Bringing you to Statesboro, Georgia. We're glad to have you here alongside Andre Ware. I'm Eric Collins. It's New Hampshire taking on Georgia Southern for the first time ever. For Georgia Southern, Chaz Williams. A couple of rushing touchdowns leading the way. That wonderful option play. Pass deep down the middle to the tight end from Rochester, New York. Jonathan Williams goes incomplete.
You know, we had weather problems, or there were a lot of rain in the first half of this game. It seems to have kind of cleared itself out, not raining quite as hard, maybe a little bit, maybe a slight drizzle, but you have to be careful with the football when you're throwing it over the middle of the field on a wet football. It gets tipped up. A lot of turnovers occur that way. Ricky Santos got to pick his spots when he's going over the middle.
3rd down. Little screen set up. Keith Levan, big yards. Can he get to the first down marker? He does. What an effort for the redshirt freshman from Waltham, Mass.
I think there was a little chewing going on in that New Hampshire locker room at halftime. All of a sudden, there's a great sense of urgency on this drive, the opening drive here in the second half. Right here, just going to show one way and come back with the screen to the outside receiver the other. You get offensive linemen pulling around there, big number 66, Tim Carrigan, and his troops along the line pulling out in front to create some yardage.
Santos, gain of a couple of yards, David Bailey. And a late flag comes in on that sideline.
Well, the thing I liked here was the eyes of Ricky Santos, a young quarterback. Really wasn't anything there. He looks the defense back into the curl route, and all of a sudden, David Bailey standing along the sidelines wide open because of the eyes of his quarterback looking people off.
Loss of down, 2nd down.
It looked like David Bailey, they're going to say he stepped out of bounds and ran his route and went out of bounds. Maybe no wonder he came wide open so late, ran out of bounds and hit over there along the sideline and stepped back in. And Santos was able to find him, but that's just going to result in a loss of down.
Ricky Santos, good numbers. 14 out of 18. He is just a redshirt freshman. You can't talk enough about how far he has come from the depth chart.
He was buried down there. He was 10 out of 11 the very first game of the season when he had to come in and sub in the first game.
John McCoy out of the backfield. Gets a couple of yards. It'll bring up a 3rd down and 8. Santos, beginning of the season, this is how lightly he was regarded. He was 4th on the depth chart. The guy who was 3rd on the depth chart, he transferred to go play baseball down at Mississippi State. And the numbers, Santos at the bottom of the quarterback section in the media guide. They basically mentioned him. They glance over him. He's looked impressive.
Yep, that was it. I mean, just kind of throw him in the mix. He's a guy that they just had to say a nice thing or two about. And then all of a sudden he finds himself as a starter on this football team.
It's like saying he has good posture. And he went on to throw the most touchdowns ever in New Hampshire history. But this time, he is brought down after a gain of just a couple of yards. Eric Hadley wrapped him up as Santos is trying to run for a first down, and now it's 4th down. Look at those numbers on the year, Andre. Just absolutely sensational.
Yeah, and to go along with that, he's had 4 games this season where he's thrown for at least 4 touchdowns in a game. I mean, just remarkable in terms of just how short a period of time he's come along as a as a freshman and really wasn't expecting to play and had to step in there and did a fabulous job. Talked about going 10 out of 11 in his very first football game this season.
Eddie Kraft back deep, waves the arm, wants the fair catch, but instead it goes over his head and into the end zone. Well, we had a chance to talk to Ricky Santos about being competitive.
I got a great story. We were up at his brother's up in Vermont at his brother's graduation party. He just graduated from high school, and we had this little 7-foot net, this little Nerf, just screwing around playing a little 101, and I go to try to dunk on him. He wasn't having it. My man tackled me into his dad's pickup truck and just put a huge dent in it. It seems like everything we do, we compete, but I think that's why I like him so much. He's a great competitor. Everything we do, we got to compete, and I think that's why I like him. That's everything. Everybody on the team just like that, so it's great guys, great bunch of guys to be around.
Yeah, certainly.
I agree.
David Ball joining with Ricky Santos, and I know for a fact that Ricky Santos is wishing that David Ball would be competing with him right now.
Yeah, finally they get him out of that uniform, helmet, and pads, but he's done for the night. But they certainly miss him and his leadership on the field. Just a sophomore, but boy, he really stepped up and answered the bell this year in terms of the receiver spot. Somebody else will be asked to step up in place of David Ball.
They give to the fullback, and Austin, already over 100 yards, gets a couple of more. In case you missed it in the first half, David Ball caught a ball and was tackled and twisted down, and he didn't come up very quickly. He was down on the ground holding his ankle, and it's a sprained ankle. He's now out of the pads. He will not return, obviously. And he was a force all season long for the Wildcats, catching 84 balls, close to 1,500 yards, 17 touchdowns.
Well, they got him out of part of the uniform. He's still got the lower half, the pads and the pants on.
On 3rd and 1, whistle blows before this play gets underway. Mike Sewak looking on intently.
We have a dead ball. We have a dead ball. Illegal snap on the center. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Yeah, Lance Wayne inside, maybe just flinching with the football. Sometimes you do that just to maybe get a guy to jump a little bit.
Both teams have now had a false start on a 3rd and 1 to begin the second half.
Oh, this is big for New Hampshire because they're trying to playing from behind and don't want to give up a 1st down here.
Pitch goes out and it's fumbled. Loose ball. The Wildcats looking to pick it up, and I don't know if they had it. They had a chance for it, but the ball goes back to Georgia Southern. Opportunity missed there for New Hampshire, but it will bring up a 4th down for Georgia Southern, but it could have been disastrous for Georgia Southern.
Boy, a blown opportunity. George Peterson, the defensive end, had an opportunity to come up with this football. Amir Sadah had an opportunity to pick the football up as well. There, just fall on the football. You got it in great field position. Mark Rudberg as well had a chance to come up with a fumble. Man, you give up a lot of yards and some fantastic field position. Trying to pick it up, it's wet, just fall on it.
Punting comes on, that's Dan Jordan. Punting the football away, just gets it off. It's high and not very good, and New Hampshire's going to get the ball close to midfield. So, great field position for the Wildcats of New Hampshire. They trail by 8. Georgia Southern and New Hampshire battling out 1AA playoffs 1st round. 7 teams have already advanced. 7 teams have already been eliminated. Both of these teams receiving at-large bids for the 1AA playoffs. New Hampshire from the Atlantic 10. Georgia Southern coming out of the Southern Conference. 4 receivers to the left for Santos. Man in motion. They fake the handoff. Santos lobs it up, has a man wide open. They're going to say that Aaron Brown was out of bounds before he made the catch.
And he's a young receiver. Played in 12 games last year as a true freshman, but you got to know at all times where you are on the football field. I mean, he's wide open, and he barely steps out of bounds. But just kind of be alert of where you are. Right there along the sideline, he steps out of bounds. Right there. Comes down just the left foot out of bounds.
Did he get the right foot down first, though?
The left one was the first.
Looked to me like he had the right foot in. And all you need, folks, is one foot. David Bailey catches this one. It's a short gain on second down.
Here we're going to get a slow look. Right foot's just on the line, and left foot is definitely out of bounds, and the official there is going to call it out, but close.
It's third down and 6. We may need to take a look at that from the other angle, because we did definitively see that the right foot was down first. Third and 6. Incomplete, wayward pass to Aaron Brown. And Andre, let's see if this right foot was in bounds.
Well, here's the other angle, and right, it's kind of hard to make out really where. The toe looks like it's in bounds, and then the left foot comes down out of bounds, and the official is right there. He's got a good look at it. It's just kind of hard to determine. We had a lot of rain and it washed out along the sideline. It affected the view of the official.
He had a better view than I did, but it looked as if that pass was a good one. Fake punt. Fake punt. Are they going to get enough yards? They're going to get close to the 40-yard line. Gain of 7, and they do get the first down. Heck of a play on the fake punt, running it out. It's Muji Kareem.
A little razzle-dazzle. The ball was directly snapped to the up man, and he's usually the guy that runs the option, but he hands it off underneath, and they block it up real well. New Hampshire's still on the move in this drive.
Gutsy call, down by 8.
Hey, what? They're not leaving anything on the table. They're going to eat everything.
Handoff goes to McCoy. McCoy has scored the only 2 touchdowns today for New Hampshire.
Just going to look at this fake. The fake punt here. It's going to snap it to the up back. Number 4, Sean Diner, and he hands it off underneath. And boy, that fools everybody. I mean, usually you get everybody going. They know it's a fake, but they don't see the underneath handoff.
Santos tucks the football away and runs it. Gets to the 36-yard line. It'll bring up a third down and 5.
Santos has really done a good job this half of football, taking care of it. It's not there. He's just going to pick up some yards and move the chains. And give the offense a chance to continue drives. You got to give credit where it's due in terms of New Hampshire being in a tough position, being down early in this football game. No playoff experience on their roster, and yet and still, they're still in this football game, being only down by 8 points.
Another behind the back fake. Santos rifles it out, and the pass is just shy of the target. David Bailey tried to make the sliding catch, but the pass is short. And a flag comes down late on the field.
This may be in that area of holding again on New Hampshire. We just talked about at the worst times, they seem to be having penalty after penalty.
Number 63, that penalty is declined. 4th down.
They call it on Sean McDonald's best offensive lineman, Christian Leibel Cote, the senior from Beaconsfield, Quebec.
Christian is a converted tight end, drafted in the CFL already by the Ottawa Rough Riders. I don't know if they're still the Rough Riders. They were a while back in the 2nd round. And he's already got a long future in the CFL once he's done in college.
On 4th and 6, this time they punt, and it goes into the end zone. It'll be a touchback. Georgia Southern will get the football on the 20-yard line after a punt of 36 yards. Let's go back into the Wayback Machine and turn it back to 1999. Championship season for Georgia Southern. Benny Cunningham starting things off, 57-yard touchdown run. Georgia Southern against Youngstown State. And then their all-everything player, Adrian Peterson, a tremendous 22-yard 1-2 run into the end zone. And that was championship number 5 for Georgia Southern. They'd win championship number 6 the following year. Let's go back to the studio right now and Matt Weiner.
All right, Eric. Boise State trying to wrap up a perfect season, their 3rd straight WAC perfect season. They go to the air. Jared Zabransky to Lawrence Beatty, and they lead it in Chile Reno 7-0.
Thanks, Matt. We saw that offense up close and personal. They can just do so many things out there.
Yeah. They can run it. They can throw it. Zabransky can do the same. He can throw the football. He can pull it down, make plays with his legs. They are explosive, and as impressed with Boise as anybody in the country this year.
Dead ball, full start on the offense, number 71. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Chad Moat is whistled for the violation. That's going to push Georgia Southern back.
That earned him a spot next to the coach. And check in Lance Watkins for him at right guard.
A little over halfway through the third quarter here at Statesboro. No one has scored. We're in the second half. Jazz Williams wants to throw. Williams avoids the rush. Little lob shot. Pass complete. Teddy Kraft with the catch. And he picks up good yards after the catch.
Boy, how about the eyes of Teddy Kraft not allowing the defender to make a play. They watch you to the last possible second. Then when you put your hands up, they try to rake the football out. Watch the touch as well by Chaz Williams right here. Not getting a lot of credit for his ability to throw the ball. Nice touch, and at the last possible second, he's going to put his hands up, not allowing the defensive back, Boulay, to make a play on the football.
Teddy Kraft averages 24 yards a carry. That time he gets 26. Jermaine Austin goes nowhere.
I'll tell you, New Hampshire, here in the second half, they're making Georgia Southern earn it. I mean, you see him there. He's got a little hitch in his giddy up. Brandon Andrews, a little slight limp. Should be okay, walk it off. But they're making them, the option isn't hurting them as much. Now they're giving it up in other areas on the perimeter. It's a couple of pass completions.
Chaz Williams keeps it. And that time, a loss of yards. Good defensive play. Amir Sadah got in the backfield and trips up Chaz Williams.
Well, that's one, when you talk to Mitch Ware and he talks about Chaz Williams not being all the time perfect in the option, you really can't. That's when you give it to the fullback right there, because he's running through the formation clean as a whistle. And you got to give it to him, and I think he's still running if he just hands it off.
So 3rd down and 10. This is not what Georgia Southern likes. Option, they pitch it out. Austin breaks a tackle, flag flies. Austin still on his feet, gets the first down if the penalty isn't against the Eagles.
It's right in that area, unfortunately, of holding. And that's usually right in that area for the offense holding. That's what it is. This one's going to come back. Well, it's still a nice run on the part of Jermaine Austin right here, just all by himself out in the open field. Can't get him down as Amir Sadah, and still just second effort, third effort, twisting and turning. Good football player.
So Mike Sewak has seen his team commit 3 penalties already in this half. Andre, that run looked a little bit like Adrian Peterson's classic run when he played here for Georgia Southern. A little spinaroo action, breaking tackles.
Well, he just took everybody to the end zone there. Just can't get him on the ground, spinning, throwing him off, stiff arm, get off me again, pushing him off. Unbelievable run.
3rd down and 20. Set up a screen. Austin has the football, and Austin is brought down at the 49-yard line. Good gain, but it'll still be well short of the first down.
Well, he's got him in that area of the field where you start thinking about maybe going for it. They hadn't put the punting unit on yet. Now they finally trot him out there.
It's a 4th down and 5 from the 49-yard line, so the punt team comes on. Dan Jordan will punt it away.
Well, they averaged 5.9 for the season. Well, why not? Stay alert for the fake here, too.
David Bailey, if they do kick, stands at his 12-yard line. Punts away, no problem. It's a high spiral. And it takes a big bounce, bounces off a New Hampshire player, but it goes out of bounds. Giovanni Benson had it glance off his leg, but no harm done. The Wildcats will have the football.
Please don't come up there when it's a split top. It's a simple thing. Walking up, going back. Let them do all they want. It don't matter. Sit in there. Be smart. And we'll put it right down the damn heart. This drive, this time.
Seawalk not pleased with that last performance from his offense.
And you know what? Right there, his quarterback and his leader, Chaz Williams, right in there with him, making adjustments in this football game. And they get things rolling like they did in the first half. It spelled a lot of trouble.
Down by 8. The Wildcats, New Hampshire, start this drive. Santos as a man, complete to the sophomore, Aaron Brown. And Brown pushed out of bounds. Gain of 16.
But you know what? They seem to have made some adjustments on that other sideline as well, because they're aggressively, Georgia Southern's playing as aggressive as they're playing defensively. Now you're seeing some misdirection, some different things from New Hampshire. They're taking advantage of some good situations too.
First 19 minutes of this ball game, 34 points. Last 22 minutes, we haven't had a score. Pass complete to the tight end, Jonathan Williams. Well, this Sunday, it's Sunday Night Football, featuring one of NFL's most bitter rivalries. It's Jake Plummer, Reuben Drones, and the 7-3 Denver Broncos host Kerry Collins, Jerry Porter, and the Oakland Raiders. Coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern with NFL Primetime presented by Miller Lite. Raiders Broncos is also available in high definition on ESPN HD. Call your local operator, DirecTV, or the Dish Network today. Man in motion, Sean Diner. The give to John McCoy. McCoy tries the left side and fights out close to midfield. Back to the studio we go. Matt, what's going on?
Well, Eric, Boise State had 21 rushing touchdowns in their last 22 coming into tonight, but Jared Zabransky now has 2 through the air. This one to TJ Acree. Broncos on top, 14-0.
That's his main man, TJ Acree. They hook up on a consistent basis.
Third down and short here, and that's going to be close.
They're marking it as 4th down, so the officials are saying it's short where it's spotted, the line judge. So it's decision time for Sean McDonald.
Sean McDonald, the former walk-on at UNH, who turned into a pretty good player during his days for the Wildcats, now coaching his alma mater, and this year he's the Atlantic 10 Coach of the Year and a finalist for the Eddie Robinson Coach of the Year Award for the best coach in 1AA. And it looks like they're going to be a couple of biscuits short of first down yards.
He was the offensive coordinator for 5 years before being named the head coach in April of '99.
What's he going to do right here, Andre?
Well, there's a lot of time in this football game. I think, well, we're going to know right now because he's going to go for it. At least you come out and you try to draw Georgia Southern off sides, maybe a hard count from Ricky Santos, try to get somebody to jump and get a freebie.
If they do go for it, is this a good decision?
It's tough with the way Georgia Southern runs the football. I don't think so. I think you punt them down closer to their end of the field.
Well, they're in the shotgun right now. And it's a direct snap to R.J. Harvey. And Harvey is going to jump over the line of scrimmage and get the first down.
Wow. You talk about having to have perfect ball handling in a situation like that. Man. I mean, because he's right. He just kind of motions himself in. Hadn't taken a whole lot of snaps. And then cold, you're just going to put your hands under the center. First, you got to find him. Because that's tough for a guy in motion to find where the center is lining up, and then to get under there and it's quick snap it right here, going right to the center, and you got to find him first and foremost. Boy, that takes some good ball handling.
Santos wants to throw on first down, has a man, complete to Diner. Diner's 5th catch, his longest gain of the evening, 24 yards.
Well, he has really stepped up in place of David Ball. He was the guy that came in at the other receiver position out of Montreal, Quebec, academic All-American, 3.9 grade point average in their business school, but came into this game with 27 receptions on the year. But boy, has he stepped up big time in the absence of David Ball.
So momentum may have shifted. The Wildcats down by 8. Looking for more. Screen set up. Working to perfection. Aaron Brown weaving his way for the touchdown. How about that? Back-to-back plays of 24 yards. put 6 on the board for the Wildcats of New Hampshire. Santos, his first touchdown of the day, his 30th touchdown of the season. And now they're just 2 points away from tying this game up at 21. And they're going to go for the 2-point conversion.
Now this is a good time to go for it here. When you tie the football game up, if you're able to have some success and get it in.
Santos with time, may have room left side. Throws it back in the end zone, incomplete. Indecision, didn't know whether to run or throw. And the 2-point conversion goes by the wayside. And Sean McDonald's team is still trailing by 2, but he's smiling because they're right back in it.
Yeah, and a field goal puts them in the lead of this football game, so it really does no harm coming up short on the 2-point conversion.
Aaron Brown, his 3rd touchdown of the season, and it was a beauty.
Yeah, they pull the left tackle Christian Labocote out to kick out on the corner. They get a good block by Adam Trisella, the center as well, and then all of a sudden it's off to the races and Aaron Brown. And here Ricky Santos doesn't have anybody to throw to. He's trying to scramble around and make a play. All of a sudden the pocket is collapsing and trying to get it to the guy that scored the touchdown, Aaron Brown. But they come up short, but they are very much in this football game.
Ricky Santos, redshirt freshman from Bellingham, Massachusetts, has gone from being 4th on the depth chart as this season began to starting in a playoff game and throwing a touchdown pass to get his team within 2.
You know, this is the way it should be played. I mean, you talk about the playoff system and deciding the national champion on the field. Just start the season about a week earlier, and then you don't have all the presidents hooping and hollering about, well, it's going to interrupt with finals and this. Well, no, you eliminate that right off, because I'll tell you the mess they have right now in the Big East and who's going to take that BCS bowl bid. Unbelievable. Pitt, if they lose, Syracuse could get in a BCS bowl game at 6-5. That is unheard of.
New Hampshire down by 2, kicks it off. Teddy Kraft with the football, and Kraft is brought down. Let's go back to the studio and Matt Weiner. That'd be something.
Well, we talked about some BCS trouble. We gonna have it. Boy, Notre Dame has stepped up, and now the Big East. Well, we got a whole lot of trouble on our hands with the BCS.
New Hampshire's answered the call here in the second half to make it a 2-point game. Georgia Southern, oh my! Big hits in the backfield. And what a play. Someone got in there with his hair on fire to break up that play.
Yeah, and they hit the fullback, Jermaine Austin, so many times. He's been running through the field without the football. Well, that time, somebody put a hat on him. Number 90, Amir Sadat, the middle linebacker. Watch this crunch and blow. You could just hear it. And he was not fast to get up, Jermaine Austin.
Sadat just busted through the hole to bust up that play. 2nd and 10. With a backwards pass, he can throw it. Kraft got a good arm. Has a man open. Catch is made by Anderson. Little chicanery pays off for Georgia Southern, but a flag is down. Was he behind his quarterback, Chaz Williams, when he caught the lateral?
Well, that's what the officials are trying to sort out right now, and there's a flag on the play. And tell you what, Sean McDonald's feeling like he was not. And this may be coming back.
We have an illegal forward pass on the offense. 2 forward passes. 5-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Loss of down. 3rd down.
This negates a game 35. And Andre, I don't know about this.
Well, here you see T.J. Anderson step up, and the football led him back to the line of scrimmage. May have just had a foot on it, and if you're on it, you're in front of it. So, you know, I thought it was a good call by the officials. The pass thrown by Chaz Williams has got to be clearly behind the line of scrimmage. It took him a step forward, just enough to put him on the line of scrimmage to negate everything.
So it's now 3rd and 17. Georgia Southern doesn't like this situation, and they put the ball on the ground. Lenon Jefferson fortunate to be able to dive on the football, but they lose a bunch of yards, and it's now 4th down and a country mile.
Well, Coach Mike Seawalk, he certainly can't be happy about what's transpiring here. You have a big play, and then all of a sudden it comes back and you put the ball on the ground, New Hampshire's going to have excellent field position. And you see just the counter option here. You show it one way and counter back the other, and they're unable to hold on to the football. Lenon Jefferson, New Hampshire, got complete control of this football game right now.
Whistle blows. The fans here in Statesboro can catch their breath in fourth quarter time when we come back. Statesboro for fourth quarter action. And Andre, let's take one last look at what would have been a big play for Georgia Southern.
Yeah, we see the line of scrimmage is going to be right here, and Teddy Kraft is clearly behind the line of scrimmage here. But when Tess Williams throws him the football, he throws it behind the line of scrimmage, but you see the football is out in front, which makes it a forward pass. So they continue to go on. He takes a step back. The whole time he's behind the line, but if you lead him in front, it's a forward pass one. It's got to throw it clearly behind the receiver in order for it to be, in order for him to be able to throw the football.
You can't have two forward passes on the same play. And a whistle blows. Remember, folks, it's fourth down now and a bunch.
If I'm New Hampshire, I'm thinking about coming after this punt. They got him pinned down. It's usually about 13 yards in terms of where the punter lines up from the long snapper. And it's right at that, and I got to come after it.
Offsides on the defense. Defense jumped in the neutral zone, causing the offense to false start. 5-yard penalty, still fourth down.
Andre, that's a very subtle thing, but it's a big play.
Yeah.
For Georgia Southern.
It really is, because it gives the punter now a little bit more room in which to get this football out. He's going to one step and get it out of here anyway, but just a little bit more room to work with.
Dan Jordan, freshman from Evans, Georgia, gets it away. And the kick fielded by David Bailey, and he's given up big-time yardage. Now trying the other side. Oh, my, that's a disaster. Against a team with great team speed like Georgia Southern, you never give up ground.
Well, first of all, on a punt return, you never, ever, ever go backwards. You're trying to get to the wall, and I knew exactly what he was trying to do, but it wasn't set up. The minute you recognize you're not going to be able to get there, look at how much yardage he starts to give up. Right there, he's at about 5 yards, 10 yards. Can't find anything. I'm going to try it back this way. I'm going to go back the other way. I'm at 15, just about 20 yards negative, 18 yards in terms of what they gave up on a punt return and field position.
They would have had the ball inside Georgia Southern territory, but instead they're on the 35. R.J. Harvey tries the right side, and Harvey, good first down yards. On the tackle, Shannon Higdon pulls him down. The winner of today's game will advance to the quarterfinals of the NCAA Division I AA playoffs to take on the Montana Grizzlies. Montana won earlier today in their first-round game against Northwestern State. You can bet the Grizzlies are watching right now to get a scouting report. Whistle negates this run by R.J. Harvey.
And here's another false start on the part of New Hampshire. They're just continuously, penalties eating them up.
Full start on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Take a look at the game track in case you're just joining us, so you want to recap what we've seen so far today. David Ball, wonderful receiver for New Hampshire, went down very early in this game with a sprained ankle. He is out for the rest of the game. But Aaron Brown has risen to the occasion, rescuing the offense for New Hampshire, scoring a touchdown right there to bring New Hampshire within 2. We're in the fourth quarter. Remember, the winner continues to move on to the quarterfinals of the playoffs. The loser goes home to dream about what might have been for the rest of the winter.
You know, Ricky Santos, you kind of watch his body language, and as this game has grown, his body language is kind of starting to exude that old confidence to it. He's really stepping into throws now. The first interception of the ball game, he looks kind of unsure of himself, eyeing receivers down. He has really come on here in this second half.
Ricky Santos runs for the first down. Gain of 7. They needed 6, and he got 1 more than he needed.
Yeah, he came into this game with 295 yards rushing and a touchdown, but here nothing really open down the field. He's looking, the pocket kind of collapses in front of him, and he's able to pull it down and make some plays. Big Shaheem Solomon kind of closing things down, and forcing him to run it.
Harvey with room. Harvey with a chance. Can he? Yes! Touchdown Wildcats!
Well, they're not going to run him down. He's a member of the New Hampshire track squad, and he captured the 2002 America East 100-meter dash championship. So once he breaks the line of scrimmage, he's gone. I mean, you're talking about a football player or a trackster in a football player's body. They're not going to catch him from behind once he gets the sideline.
What a turn of event for Sean McDonald's crew.
Now that old saying, just hanging around. New Hampshire just hung around long enough. Now they've taken the lead in this football game. And no playoff experience for a long, long time, since 1994. And boy, they are right in the thick of this, baby.
And now they're going to go for two and try and take a 6-point advantage. They do. John McCoy adds to his 2 touchdowns. He's now got a 2-point conversion. And UNH up by 6, courtesy of R.J. Harvey, the senior from Albany, a 52-yard touchdown run. So the passing team from New Hampshire now has 3 touchdowns on the ground. They say to Georgia Southern, anything you can do, we can do better. They've got the lead for the first time tonight. New Hampshire on top, 27-21. Well, the New Hampshire Wildcats, maybe their offseason conditioning paying off. They seem to have the stamina and the endurance here in the second half, and Georgia Southern looks gassed. All 14 points here in the second half have been scored by New Hampshire.
Yeah, what's been amazing to me is, you know, the younger football team with no playoff experience has really just kind of hung around, and they've shot themselves in the foot a couple of times in terms of penalties and turnovers, but they've hung around, and now they lead this football game.
This will be a big possession for Georgia Southern. Teddy Kraft with the football, and Teddy Kraft with the chance. Kraft out to the 45-yard line. Good field position for the Eagles. Gain of 33. Let's go back to the studio and Matt Weiner.
Eric, Boise State could wind up playing Louisville in the Liberty Bowl. Louisville put up 70 today. Boise State now has 21 in the second quarter, thanks to Jeff Carpenter, 21-0.
Thank you, Matt. Well, back here in southern Georgia, the Eagles of Georgia Southern are tested. Let's see how they answer right now. Chaz Williams, a little bit of squirming around that sideline, picks up a couple of yards on first down. Georgia Southern, they've just been so special. When the games really start to count, they have never lost in the first round of a playoff game.
Yeah, and there's a lot of time. You see it there, 12 minutes, 56 seconds. But this season, New Hampshire undefeated on the road, 7-0. They haven't lost on the road. Something's got to give. As well, Georgia Southern 5-0 at home this year. So something's going to give.
Good gain right up the gut and refusing to go down. Jermaine Austin just pushing the pile out to the 40-yard line. Gain of 12 for the junior.
They didn't seem to respond. It looks like there's some laundry on the field. We got a flag. The referees are sorting it out, and Chaz Williams got himself hit. Looks like maybe a finger or something out of place, and they're trying to pop it back in.
The play resulted in a first down. After the play, we have a dead ball, unsportsmanlike, 67 of the offense. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run, be first and 10.
Lance Wayne, the center, is called for the violation after the play, but a good gain by Jermaine Austin.
And there, Chaz Williams goes down. The old finger's out of place, and he comes over and trying to massage that thing back into place, but they worked on it. Training staff on the sideline. He's right back in the football game.
Tim Beckett, senior from Gloversville, New York, got back there and put a lid on Chaz Williams. Trying the right side. Gain of a couple for T.J. Anderson.
They're
Just kind of keep an eye on Chaz Williams here and how it's on the left hand, and they definitely put it back in place, and he's right back in there. When you talk about tough and having to be tough running this option attack of Georgia Southern as a quarterback, it's just like almost a running back playing quarterback. You're going to get hit so many times, and you're going to have little nicks and bumps, but boy, is he a tough competitor.
Fullback, no chance. Austin drilled in the backfield. Amir Sadah on the tackle. Etienne Boulay also in on the stop. And Andre, New Hampshire's doing something differently in the second half that they weren't doing in the first half defensively.
Well, Amir Sadah, the middle linebacker, is playing a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage, trying to confuse the offensive line. Lance Wayne, who usually makes all the calls up front for Georgia Southern, they're confusing them right now. They're walking A.J. DeWitt. He's up and in the hole as well, and moving people around. George Peterson is unaccounted for. He's all up and down that defensive line for New Hampshire.
Big third down. Chaz Williams tries the left side. Williams needs to break the tackle. He leaps close to the first down marker.
I can guarantee you one thing. They're in plus yardage situation, and it's going to be just about half a yard short. They are going to go for this. I mean, you talk about the clock running. It's starting to rain again, and you're playing from behind, and you have an opportunity, as well as they move the football throughout this ball game on the ground. You got to feel like you can pick up a half yard.
Well, Georgia Southern has been faced with a fourth down on 2 separate occasions. They have yet to make it. 0 for 2 in this situation. Fullback is stuffed. Sadah got him in the backfield.
Where the line judge is ruling this, it's going to be short from one side, and the spot that he has is short. It is definitely short. You're talking about some contact in the middle. Boy, big number 91, Derek Stank, came through there and just lit everything up. Number 27 as well. He's in there on the stop. Just watch the look. Listen to the sound of this thing. Well, big Derek Stank just getting low. Whoever's lowest at this point, and he comes down inside. Number 90, Amir Sadah, is well in there. Big play.
Wow, what an offensive play for New Hampshire. And now coming the other way, John McCoy, good first down yards, gain of 12. Who would have thought? New Hampshire, they've never won a playoff game. They've been to playoffs just twice and lost in the first round each time. Georgia Southern, they've won 6 national championships, but right now, New Hampshire, they have got Georgia Southern on the ropes. Ricky Santos calls his own number and gets good first down yard.
And a point to make as well, having to go on the road and do it. You talk about the weather playing a part. They've had to adjust everything they like to do offensively. They came in here because when we talked to offensive coordinator Chip Kelly, he said, we're going to throw it and throw it a lot. All of a sudden, you see all the yards here in the second half for favors New Hampshire, but they throw the football. They've adjusted, and it's been the ground game. R.J. Harvey, just a little bit of John McCoy, some Ricky Santos sprinkled in there at times, and just kind of redoing the whole deal. Adjustments at halftime on the part of New Hampshire has got them in the lead of this football game.
No matter how good your offense is and no matter how pretty your passing game is, when it comes to winning playoff games, more often than not, you're going to have to run the football effectively at some point.
Yeah, you're going to have to adjust what you're doing if it's not working. Where they recognize the fact that they've got a big offensive line and they're starting to run behind it.
Tuesday night, ESPN's coverage of the ACC Big Ten Challenge continues on ESPN. At 7 Eastern, the Michigan Wolverines meet B.J. Elder and the 3rd-ranked Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Then at 9 Eastern, Paul Davis and the 9th-ranked Michigan State Spartans will have to contend with J.J. Redick, the 10th-ranked Duke Blue Devils, and the Cameron Crazies. The ACC Big Ten Challenge presented by 989 Sports, Monday through Wednesday on ESPN and ESPN2. Second down and long. First man through is John McCoy.
They're running behind big Tucker Peterson. Big left guard, and Christian Libelnote, Cote as well. The left tackle just moving bodies along that left side of that offensive line. And they've kind of gotten comfortable now running the football in there.
New Hampshire, they've now run 7 consecutive running plays. This is the team that had one of the best passing offenses in 1AA all year. Santos makes a mistake. Ball tipped and intercepted. James Young with the pickoff.
And that's one of those freshman mistakes. Ricky Santos, he's really just trying to throw this football away because he's getting tremendous pressure by James Young on a blitz. And he's trying to get rid of the football, but he does it in the wrong area of the field. We talked earlier about footballs being thrown over the middle and it's being tipped and something bad happening. Well, here you're in a position to score and go up by 9 points if just a field goal. Throw that baby in the stands, find the sideline, and get it out of bounds.
Victor Cabral had the ball in his mitts. It slid through, and James Young was there to pick up the carry. Now Georgia Southern, guys a screen. Couple of yards on first down. Jason Fonster, the redshirt freshman from Canton, Georgia, on the reception. Turnovers have been a huge deal today.
Yeah, it was Eric McIntyre, the defensive lineman for Georgia Southern, applying a lot of pressure to Ricky Santos and forced him into a bad situation, throwing the ball over the middle and just trying to get it out of there, and he doesn't get enough on the football. Well, James Young waiting there with his big mitts to come up with that interception.
Jazz Williams barrels over the first down marker and gets a fresh set of downs for the Eagles.
Well, it's an emotional game, isn't it? You're talking about momentum, and New Hampshire has them exactly where they want them. All they got to do is put some points on the board. Now it's a two scores for Georgia Southern. Now this sideline has come alive. The stadium has come alive. Man.
Williams rolls to his right. Throws a dart low, intended for Teddy Kraft.
For number 85, Teddy Kraft is incomplete.
Well, I thought right away he was going to go to the slot back, T.J. Anderson. Just a little route in the flat, and on first down, all you're looking for really is something positive. You can hit a guy out of the backfield. Nobody out there, he can turn up and get you 5-6 yards. Then you're working with second and short as opposed to waiting it out and throwing an incompletion. Now you got second down and 10. A little harder to manage the chains and move the football in these circumstances.
Williams, option. Williams, first down.
Oh, you think Chaz Williams isn't feeling it right now? He got an opportunity, and he thought he was all but done, sitting on that sideline watching Ricky Santos operate the New Hampshire offense. But here, they go right back to that triple option. Inside with the fullback, it's not there. I'm going to pull it. Look at that little wiggle to his step. He's feeling it right now.
Jazz Williams already a couple of touchdowns to go with his 138 rushing yards. Again, he keeps it. And again, good yards.
Right now, he's just kind of taking this offense and put it on his back. We talked about the fact of him just being right now another running back playing quarterback. And he's breaking tackles, being tough, had the finger out of place a drive ago, snapped that baby back in, and let's ride.
Williams at 29 rushing yards on this drive alone. Fumble! Chaz Williams got his own fumble. 6th fumble so far this evening for Georgia Southern. They've lost 3 of them.
Yeah, they came in, we mentioned earlier, only turning the football over 11 times all season in 11 games, which is a pretty good percentage. You know, when you look at it, what came in tonight, 6 times on the ground. Tough to overcome, but they still have an opportunity in this football game.
3rd down and 3. Trying to get to the 48-yard line. Williams rolls out, looks the other way. Nothing doing. Interesting play call on 3rd and 3. Andre, I think there's a little bit of doubt now on Georgia Southern. What they normally do, what they did in the first half, would just run the football. 3rd and 3, no problem. But here in the second half, things haven't gone so well for Mike Seawalk's club, and now the play call is starting to change. They're not doing what they normally do.
It really has, and now in a situation like this, they've had so much success. You saw them get stopped on the 4th down and 1 in the last series, and now it's about 4th down and 3 or so. They're going to choose to punt this football. They feel like they still got a lot of time left in this game.
Georgia Southern still has all 3 of their timeouts. Kick rolls inside the 20, close to the 15-yard line where it is down. 5:50 remaining in this contest. The winner moves on in the 1AA playoffs. To the final first-round game. The 1AA playoffs. 7 teams have already moved on. 7 have been eliminated. But 2 playing for the right to move on to the quarterfinals. New Hampshire and Georgia Southern. Alongside Andre Ware, Andre Collins. New Hampshire up by 6. Trying to use up some clock and get some more points. They've scored 21 unanswered points since trailing 21-6 back in the first half.
Yeah, they spotted Georgia Southern some points and some great field position. And I mean, they have come roaring back in this second half of this football game, just kind of hanging around. And I think the impressive thing is going on the road. You don't have any players on your squad with any playoff experience, so they really don't know what it takes to win football games in the playoffs on the road. But they hung around and lead this football game.
University of New Hampshire winning the team on the offensive line. They're controlling the line of scrimmage. And we talked to their quarterback yesterday about how important their offensive line has been this year.
There's so many other guys besides Dave making plays out there. Our running backs are outstanding. Coach Kelly makes a great game plan teams every single week. So, I mean, it really a tribute to all of them and all the coaching staff.
Our head coach put this season's success on the shoulders of our linemen as a whole, offensive and defensive, and they've done an outstanding job. We wouldn't have our success without them. Sure.
Yeah, when you look at how they got back in this football game, disruptive on defense, up front, stopping the fullback, and then going behind those big offensive linemen, R.J. Harvey, they got him involved, as well as John McCoy. And it has been in the trenches that got New Hampshire back in this football game.
3rd and 8. They get it out to Diner. And Diner is going to be well short of first down distance. Punt team will have to come on for New Hampshire. 3 and out.
Well, they try to pull Tim Carrigan around and kick out, and he almost gets in the way of Sean Diner. He's trying to come out, and if he can pick up one block, he's going to at least pop it for a first down. But they're going to give Georgia Southern this football again, and they're going to have excellent field position on this drive.
3 and out is not what the Wildcats wanted. Matt Henry. False start on New Hampshire.
Dead ball. False start on the offense. Number 12. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
Now the field position just got a little bit better. Got at least 5 yards better for Georgia Southern. And you know, the way they operate on offense, you're talking about 3 minutes, 38 seconds. They get themselves in the end zone. It's going to take a touchdown to do it. But I guarantee you one thing, it won't be a whole lot of time left on the clock if they indeed score.
Both teams have their full complement of timeouts remaining. Henry gets it off. Teddy Kraft with the football and a full head of steam. Gets to the 44-yard line. Great field position for the Eagles. Their season is on the line. Will they answer the call? We'll find out. What's happened so far today in the 1AA playoffs? First round action, William & Mary and Delaware, they both advance out of the Atlantic 10. James Madison, another A-10 team, they move on to take on the Furman Paladins next week. Eastern Washington, Sam Houston State live to fight another day. Montana, all over Northwestern State. And the winner of today's game will take on the Montana Grizzlies. Georgia Southern, the 4th seed out of the 16 teams, hosting this game against New Hampshire. But they're in trouble, down by 6. This is their deepest penetration of the second half. They just got it on the punt return. They have not done well offensively so far in the second half. Well, the Division I Women's Soccer Championship begins Friday at 2 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2. For a preview of both College Cup semifinal games, visit NCAAsports.com. the official home for all 88 NCAA championships. Mike Seawalk has been a part of 4 1AA championships as a coach here at Georgia Southern, but all 4 were as an assistant coach. As the head man, he doesn't have a ring, and he would love one.
Yeah, he was on a staff with Paul Johnson, who won 6 and moved on to Navy a couple of years ago. And he's got Navy in another bowl game this season, successful season. He and athletic director Chet Gladchuk doing a fabulous job at the Naval Academy.
3rd down, Chaz Williams. He's going to be short of first down yards. It's going to bring up a 4th, and very important.
Yeah, they're going to call timeout. They've got 3 timeouts left, and talk about this because they've been stopped on 4th down.
We'll take a timeout. 2:13 remaining. Georgia Southern down by 6. We're back. New Hampshire on top of Georgia Southern by 6. This week, Sunday Night Football features one of the NFL's most bitter rivalries as Jake Plummer, Reuben Drones, and the 7-3 Denver Broncos host Kerry Collins, Jerry Porter, and the Oakland Raiders. Coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern with NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. 4th down and 3.
Well, this is it.
Georgia Southern running out of time. They sprint their quarterback out. Chaz Williams makes a play.
I'll tell you what, they put it on their leader's shoulders right there. Wasn't much thought to throwing the football. Wanted to just spread everybody out and give him a running lane. And he just kind of operates on his own right there. You see the lineman blocking back inside. Really wasn't a whole lot of thought to throwing this football. Just get Chaz Williams out on the edge and a chance to pick up the first down.
Williams now with 156 yards rushing. Give him a couple of more. He lowers his head and picks up a couple. Thrown down rudely. It'll bring up a 2nd down.
Yeah, not much of a gain there, but a whole lot of this clock just being chewed up. And we talked about it, the way they do business on offense, there wasn't going to be a whole lot of time and a lot of room for error on either sideline. Once this football game got close to the end, there's not going to be much time left.
College Game Day scoreboard coming up immediately following this game. 2nd down, Williams wants to throw. Gutsy call into the corner. Oh, batted down, intended for Teddy Kraft. Etienne Boulay got his hand on it to thwart the effort.
Yeah, he tries to go to his favorite receiver, if there is such in this Georgia Southern offense, but right there, almost an interception in the corner of the end zone, right? They're trying to allow his receiver to make a play, and he puts it there just enough, not quite enough air under the football for Teddy Kraft to make a play on it. Actually, he had to turn and play defensive back.
Time running short for the Eagles of Georgia Southern. 78 seconds remaining. Williams again wants to throw. Short pass, batted down. George Peterson, the senior from Clarendon, Vermont, just outside of Rutland.
You know, right now, New Hampshire's done a good job of kind of taking Georgia Southern out of their element of what they like to do. The clock at this point, it's 4th down. The clock at this point is their worst enemy, and you can't afford to do what you like to do in terms of running the football. They've never lost a playoff game in the first round right now.
4th down and 6. They need to get to the 21-yard line. Williams sprints out left, looks right. Incomplete. Jason Foster, the intended receiver, he had no chance, and the ball goes over on downs to New Hampshire.
Well, a minute 8 seconds left in this game. They still have 2 timeouts, so they'll be able to stop the clock at least 2 times. So New Hampshire just can't fall on it or take a knee. They've got to run some plays in this thing, and you never know as much as the ball's been on the turf tonight.
Andre, what are your thoughts on that play call? 4th and 6, and you try a pass that's close to behind the line of scrimmage.
Well, you know, I thought they would go back to what got them the first down on 4th down and 3 right there. Just get Chaz Williams out on the corner and allow him to continue on, maybe a run pass option, give him a receiver or 2 to the field side in case things broke down. He could throw the football, but boy, that's a tough call. Don't think I'd have run that play.
Not sure that Mike Seawalk would do it again if he had the opportunity. Timeout is called. Just a couple of ticks go off. That's the second timeout called for Georgia Southern. They have one more timeout in their back pocket. They'll have to use it when we come back. Sean McDonald looking for New Hampshire's first playoff win ever. Now in his 6th season. Last year, his club was 5-7. This year, what a turnaround. 9-2 with wins over Delaware, when Delaware was the defending 1AA national champion. A win over the 1A Rutgers Scarlet Knights, their first win ever over a 1A team. And now, just over a minute away from their first playoff win ever. R.J. Harvey needs to hold on to the football. He does. Georgia Southern will call timeout. They do. They're now out of timeouts.
Yeah, you talk about a guy like Sean McDonald in terms of overcoming a lot. You know, lost his starting quarterback at the beginning of the season. Really didn't know what his fate would be once this season was over had they not made it into the playoffs. Well, they did. Loses his receiver, David Ball, early in this football game. And when they were able to overcome that, guys just continuing to step up and make plays. Ricky Santos early in the season had an outstanding season for them. Sean Diner, who came in and replaced David Ball, really stepped up and made some plays in this football game. Aaron Brown as well. You know what? They're going to advance.
Andre, one of the biggest plays of this game, after Georgia Southern on top 14-zip, Corey Graham, when all looked to be lost, gave his team just a tremendous surge of adrenaline. A 99-yard kickoff return to set them up for an easy score and get them back in this game, both on the scoreboard and mentally.
You know what? You're absolutely right, because at that point in the football game, Georgia Southern had all the momentum in the game and were really ready to just kind of step on the accelerator. And he came back and provided a tremendous spark.
3rd and 2, R.J. Harvey is going to be short.
And now the clock's just going to run because Georgia Southern, they're out of timeouts. It's 4th down and 3. They're going to get the football back one more time. But the play clock, they're going to take this baby all the way down.
You'd imagine they'll let it go all the way down and then call a timeout with 1 tick remaining on the play clock. The difference is 10 seconds. So they're going to have to punt it away with 10 seconds to Mike Seawalk's club.
And you better be sure to get your coverage down there to Teddy Kraft. I don't think I'd punt this football in the middle of the field. I'd punt it and angle it out of bounds and make them go the distance. I would not punt this football in the middle of the field and give him a chance to return it.
New Hampshire, they know that the simple snap to the punter sometimes can be an ordeal. Remember back in the first half, their snap was too high and they got sacked for a big loss. And well, there still is 10 seconds remaining. We may be jumping the gun here, but with a win, New Hampshire would go on to take on the Montana Grizzlies in quarterfinal action next week.
And that'll be tough. They don't really know. I guess, you know, they will travel. Who's the home team in that baby?
Well, that's still
to be determined.
That's still to be determined.
So you don't know where they're going to play. But here on the other side, William and Mary, they advance and come back from a 35-point deficit to win that football game.
Should this score hold, all 4 teams that were invited into the 1AA playoffs from the Atlantic 10 will have survived first-round action. And that is a big tip of the cap to the teams that play in the Atlantic 10, the 12 teams that play in the Atlantic 10.
Tough division, tough conference, and all 4 are going to advance. And it's kind of there. William and Mary, you know, Mike Pinball Clemens, who played there a long time ago, had a lot of success. Now the head coach of the Toronto Argonauts, won the Grey Cup this year. Congratulations to him. And I know he's happy, and he's keeping an eye on what's going on in the Atlantic 10.
All right, big play here. They just need to not make a mistake. They're going to take a safety. He'd be wise to not take it that quickly. And they go out of the back of the end zone with 5 seconds remaining. So the safety is going to make it a 4-point lead for New Hampshire. Now they need to give a free kick away.
Well, they're going to have to kick it at some point. I think, you know, just slow down. I think he probably could have run off another 2 or 3 seconds and gotten it on down there. But, boy, he just got to the end zone a little bit too fast.
Well, unless this free kick goes out of bounds or unless it's fair caught, the free kick and the return will be the final play of this game.
Well, even the punt may have been as well, but you still got to cover. Look at it. Nobody around him. You can still take some time. He just turned and sprinted And right there, now everybody's starting to show up, but another 2 or 3 seconds, and you got it down to basically nothing.
The folks from the Granite State have stoned the offense of Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern has not scored in 42 minutes.
Wow.
So we're looking at Ricky Santos and their wonderful offense that puts up 27 points, but their defense, they have earned their scholarships today.
They've done a fabulous job at halftime of making some adjustments, especially in the running game defensively. And you got to give credit to defensive coordinator Mike Dawson, who came up with an excellent game plan in the second half to stymie Georgia Southern, because they were on a roll. They were ripping through his defense in that first half, and you just didn't know if they could get a handle on it, because the fullback was gashing them, Chaz Williams was gashing them, and then they were able to get out on the outside edges a couple of times as well. And boy, they stopped that, and it was a whole different ball game in the second half.
The rain has finally stopped for the first time in over 3 hours here in Statesboro. But the rain is still raining on the parade of Georgia Southern, unless they can catch lightning in a bottle here. Little squib. They're going to try a flipperoo. Couple of flips already. Teddy Kraft with the football. And Kraft with a seam, but that seam closes quickly. And New Hampshire wins their first playoff game ever in their third try. Congratulations to the New Hampshire Wildcats, who move on to the quarterfinals to take on the Montana Grizzlies. So, Sean McDonald and his dream season continues. They love life out of a suitcase. New Hampshire now 8-0 on the road. They are now 10-2 on the season. Our final score, first round play of the 1AA playoffs, New Hampshire 27, Georgia Southern 23. Coming up next, it's College Game Day Scoreboard. This has been a presentation of NCAA Sports and ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. For Andre Ware, this is Eric Collins saying good night from Statesboro, Georgia. Now let's go to the studio and Matt.